LoveLore Library. Chapter 309. Wang Xuefan. After all this, it was actually this matter. Wang Xifan didn't know what to do. Could it be that his elder brother was exposed by someone behind the scenes? Moreover, it seems that this person has a grudge with my brother. Excuse me for asking, brother, do you have any hatred with my big brother? Wang Xuefan. Wang Xifan didn't know if the other party knew his relationship with Wang Xuefan. In order to avoid getting into trouble, he didn't dare to say that Wang Xuefan was his brother. You don't have to worry about this. If you know, it won't be good for you. I will also find trouble with you. Yang Ming sneered. This. Wang Xifan's mind was working quickly. It was very difficult for him to not care about Wang Xuefan's matter, but in contrast, his own life was more important. Wang Xifan didn't want to offend a potential enemy for no reason. Moreover, this enemy seemed to belong to the kind of character who played with his life. Wang Xifan was worth hundreds of millions. There was no need to go head-to-head with this kind of person. After thinking for a long time, Wang Xifan finally said, "Well, brother, I won't intervene in this matter." Fuck. Why didn't you say so earlier? Yang Ming changed his plain tone and suddenly scolded. This made Wang Xifan somewhat inexplicable. He quickly asked, "Brother, what's wrong with you? I saw you dawdling, so I thought you didn't agree. I have already sent someone to deal with you," said Yang Ming. Ah. Wang Xifan was shocked. "Brother, let's talk about it. Your people are now, forget it. I won't talk to you. I will call them back," Yang Ming said. Yes. Then I won't delay you. You hurry up and make the call." Wang Xifan didn't dare to delay anymore. Maybe he would be done in a while. After hanging up the phone, Wang Xifan found a handkerchief to wipe the cold sweat on his forehead. I feel that Huang Yukai was also done because of my brother's matter. Motherfucker, what kind of person did my brother provoke? Not only is he unreasonable, but his means are also very ruthless. Wang Xifan sighed and thought, "Brother, it's not that I don't want to help you, but this time I can't help it. It's already good enough that I didn't get myself involved." Wang Xifan wasn't the kind of person who was easily threatened. To be honest, if Yang Ming made such a call on a normal day, Wang Xifan might not even bother with him. But now it was different. Huang Yukai had just gotten into an accident. The shocking scene of the car accident had a huge impact on Wang Xifan. Wang Xifan didn't want to end up like this because of this. Alright, then I won't care. Who cares who the caller is? Anyway, this person is not coming for me. As long as my big brother is in prison, that person will not make things difficult for me anymore. Wang Xifan felt that it was necessary to pass a message to his elder brother so that he could plead guilty as soon as possible. Why? Because prison was the safest place with police protection. Wang Xifan felt that if his brother was really fine and was released, that person would definitely not give up. Maybe it would be more painful than going to prison. Since this matter had been decided, then Wang Xifan didn't need to call Xiaoqing again. No, he had to make the call. And they had to fight. Wang Xifan suddenly realized this. What if, just in case, Xiaoqing really didn't pursue Wang Xuefan's responsibility under his coercion? Although he knew that this possibility was very small, he couldn't take this risk. Even if Huang Yukai was a confidant, he was just an outsider. Wang Xuefan was his own elder brother. Wang Xifan couldn't watch him become a paraplegic. So, Wang Xifan quickly grabbed the phone on the table and dialed Xiaoqing. "Hello, is this Director Xiao?" asked Wang Xifan. "I am." Xiaoqing naturally recognized the voice of the person who called before. This is the case, Director Xiao. I don't know what you think about that matter. Wang Shifan asked tentatively. Sorry, the school will definitely pursue Wang Shuafan's responsibility, said Xiao Qing. Great. Wang Shifan heard that his elder brother was definitely going to be sentenced, and he couldn't help but be happy. Ah. Xiao Qing heard this and was a little dumbfounded. Is the other party okay? Why does it seem like he wants the school to pursue Wang Shuafan's responsibility? Ugh, this is the case. I am the leader of Wang's Century Xiongfeng Company. In fact, we are also victims. We bought the information from Wang Shuafan. We didn't know beforehand. You must seriously pursue Wang Shuafan's responsibility. If necessary, we will also provide some evidence. Wang Shifan was now really afraid that there would be insufficient evidence and Wang Shuafan would be released. Thank you. Xiao Qing hung up the phone suspiciously. Isn't the change of attitude a bit too fast? It's incredible. An hour ago, he asked me to give up pursuing. An hour later, he immediately changed his mind. Could it be? Xiao Qing's heart suddenly moved. Yang Ming. Did he do it again? Xiao Qing felt that this was most likely the case. But how did Yang Ming do it? Could he make Wang's side change their mind in an instant? Yang Ming's lies not only scared Wang Shifan, but most importantly, he cast Xiao Qing out of this matter. He successfully transferred the hatred to an imaginary enemy. In this way, even if Wang Shifan felt unbalanced afterward and wanted to retaliate, it was impossible to make a move on Xiao Qing. In fact, Yang Ming did this after careful consideration. Although he could assassinate Wang Shifan if he planned it carefully, there would be a lot of trouble. Wang Shifan was different from Huang Yukai. Wang Shifan was a person with an identity in Songjiang City. If he died or went missing, the police would investigate deeply. In that case, Yang Ming was equivalent to getting himself into trouble. Therefore, it was better to intimidate them first and achieve their goal. Wang Shifan hung up the phone and began to arrange for people to go to the detention center to pass a message to his elder brother, Wang Shuafan. Wang Shuafan had some complaints at first. How could Wang Shifan compromise? At most, he would go out and hide for a while. However, when he heard about Huang Youcai's tragedy, he immediately became silent. In the end, Wang Shuafan decided to hide in prison for a few years. The matter was resolved. Yang Ming felt a lot more relaxed. This is really an eventful time. At the entrance of the school's cafeteria, Yang Ming saw Zhang Bin and Zhao Sisi. Chen Mengyan and teacher Zhao Ying just went in. When Zhang Bin saw Yang Ming, he immediately greeted him. Really? Let's go in and have a look. When Yang Ming heard that Chen Mengyan entered the cafeteria, he immediately said. Hee hee. Zhang Bin and Zhao Sisi snickered and followed Yang Ming. Most likely, Zhang Bin had already told Zhao Sisi about Yang Ming's matters. Although the cafeteria was already overcrowded, it was definitely not an easy thing to find someone. But this wasn't a problem for Yang Ming. Yang Ming's eyes were better than a radar. He quickly locked onto the target. Sure enough, Chen Mengyan and Zhao Ying were sitting at a table in the corner. The two people were eating and talking about some things. Chen Mengyan also smiled from time to time. Yang Ming breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that Chen Mengyan seemed to be coming out of the shadow. A while ago, he heard from Zhang Bin that Chen Mengyan was depressed all day. Yang Ming was very distressed. Yang Ming observed the mouth shape of the two people and found that they were talking about high school. After looking at it for a while, he found that it was some trivial things, and he wasn't mentioned. Yang Ming couldn't help but be a little frustrated. It seemed that the two people were deliberately avoiding something. Yang Ming really guessed it. Except for that afternoon on the campus bench, the two people talked about Yang Ming. After that, they didn't mention Yang Ming again. Zhao Ying didn't want to mention it. She would be sad when she mentioned it. She tried so hard to be admitted as a postgraduate student, but she didn't expect that because she was soft-hearted, she made a wedding dress for someone else. Zhao Ying didn't know whether she was right or wrong to enlighten Chen Mengyan that day. As for Chen Mengyan, she felt that Zhao Ying was her teacher in the past. That day, she vented her feelings because of her feelings. Her mood was slightly better these 2 days. Chen Mengyan was too embarrassed to continue the topic of Yang Ming. She didn't want to be laughed at by Zhao Ying. It seemed that the time wasn't right yet. Yang Ming sighed. The top priority was to find a way to contact Zhao Ying through a single line and see if he could get any information from her. Seeing Yang Ming sighing, Zhang Bin thought that Yang Ming felt that there were too many people in the cafeteria, and it was difficult to find someone. So he said, "Yang Ming, do you want me and Zhao Sisi to split up and look?" "No need. Let's go." Yang Ming shook his head and turned out of the cafeteria. Zhang Bin and Zhao Sisi looked at each other and smiled bitterly behind Yang Ming. Chapter 310. Wang Shui, why do you think Yang Ming always has this kind of indifferent attitude towards me? Beside the bed in the female dormitory, there were 2 girls sitting side by side. The one who spoke was naturally Zhou Jiejia. "Isn't that good? At least he doesn't hate you," Wang Shui said. "I would rather he scold me. Now this feeling is really uncomfortable. It's almost like a stranger. I don't talk to him, and he doesn't talk to me." Zhou Jiejia shook her head. "You are too dull. You should be more proactive." "I don't believe that Yang Ming won't be tempted," Wang Shui said. "Proactive? I'm afraid he doesn't like girls who are too proactive, right?" Zhou Jiejia asked. "Don't like? Hee, Jiejia, haven't you heard of this saying? Men are all lustful animals. You are so beautiful. Even if Yang Ming doesn't have a good impression of you psychologically, he will have a good impression of you physically." Wang Shui said, "I know this better than you. I have read so many romance novels. It's good that you don't say it. When you say it, I get angry." Zhou Jiejia frowned. "Wang Shui, why did you change my profile picture to the erotic video? Aren't you being too unreasonable? I just taught you a method in the morning, and you used me as an experiment at noon. I thought that your friend on QQ was Yang Ming. I did this to help you. I was thinking of seducing him. Maybe he would be hooked." Wang Shui didn't have the slightest remorse. "AI." Zhou Jiejia sighed. "I am really dead because of you. If that person is really Yang Ming, wouldn't he hate me even more? Yang Ming doesn't seem to like this kind of casual girl, right? You are confused because you care. Didn't you later identify that the person wasn't Yang Ming after the investigation?" Wang Shui said indifferently. "Even so, since he said that his name is Yang Ming, and he also graduated from Red Flag High School, then this person must be someone around Yang Ming. I am afraid that he will talk nonsense to Yang Ming." Zhou Jiejia said worriedly, "Especially on the first day of school, you also saw it. Yang Ming looked at me strangely. It was like looking at like if miss, aren't you overthinking it? Didn't he explain what Ji Yuan and Ji Nu meant?" Wang Shui didn't think too much about it. "I hope so." Zhou Jiejia. Bye. Bye. Fortunately, your video was full of flaws. If you look closely, you can see that it was spliced together. Otherwise, my reputation would have been ruined by you. Bye. You. Is. Wang Shui said, "You see, I'm not as beautiful as you. Aren't there a lot of boys pursuing me? What Wang Shui said was true. Wang Shui could only be said to be average, but the computer science department had more males than females. There were more males than females. Therefore, as long as a girl didn't look too bad, there would be people pursuing her. Even if it was too bad, they could basically find a partner before graduation. I don't care if others pursue me. Zhou Jiejia shook her head. In retrospect, my relationship path was basically a failure. A single slip may cause everlasting regret. Why was I so impulsive? Although Suya was quite annoying, if you put aside the relationship of being a love rival, Suya was still quite perfect. Otherwise, Zhou Jiejia couldn't subtly take Suya as her role model over the years. It's easy for a girl to pursue a guy. Wang Shui said with a smile, it's okay. Isn't there still 4 years of university? Don't worry. You can take it slowly. That's what you say, but who can guarantee that Yang Ming won't have a girlfriend first? Zhou Jiejia said helplessly. Forgive me for being blunt. Wang Shui directly poured cold water on Zhou Jiejia. Zhou Jiejia, when you embarked on such a persistent path, did you really not think about it? If Yang Ming has a girlfriend now, will you give up? Zhou Jiejia was speechless for a while, but in the end, she shook her head. Well, even if you can squeeze away his girlfriend, then, have you ever thought about it? If one day in the future, Suya really appears in front of Yang Ming again, do you think Yang Ming will choose you or Suya? Wang Shui continued to ask. Zhou Jiejia's face suddenly became pale. Her eyes stared blankly outside the window, and then she said timidly, it shouldn't be. It has been so long. Yang Ming might have forgotten her. Besides, Suya hasn't seen Yang Ming for so long. She should have no feelings for him, right? How can a childhood relationship be real? Ha! Wang Shui suddenly laughed and said, it's funny. What's wrong? Zhou Jiejia asked with a guilty conscience, Wang Shui, what are you laughing at? Jiejia, when you said those words, don't you feel guilty at all? Wang Shui shook her head. It's not good for a child to lie. Am I telling the truth? Besides, how do I know what they are thinking? I just speculated according to common sense. Zhou Jiejia said. Common sense. Wang Shui asked, Jiejia, you are simply deceiving yourself. Let's not talk about others. Let's talk about the situation in front of you. You have forgotten Yang Ming for so many years. Have your feelings for him faded? Zhou Jiejia was powerless on the bed. She leaned against the headboard, and her face became pale. Yes, the fantasy that had always been in her heart was ruthlessly annihilated. Zhou Jiejia was like a little girl whose lie was exposed. She stared at the ceiling blankly. Jiejia, it's not too late for you to stop now. Don't fall deeper and deeper. Wang Shui was ready to continue to pour oil on the fire. She didn't want to see her friend fall like this. If you do this, you can only fall deeper and deeper. In the end, you can't extricate yourself. Jiejia, you are so excellent. You are a proud girl. Do you want to be entangled in love for a lifetime? Zhou Jiejia looked at Wang Shui. Her eyes were blurred, helpless, and most of all, painful. Jiejia, you are wrong from the beginning to the end. You fell in love with someone you shouldn't have. You have no result with him. There is no future. Wang Shui continued, Jiejia, as your good friend, I should support your decision, so I have been helping you to make plans. I hope you can be happy. However, because I am your friend, I have to plan for your future. I have to be responsible for you. I don't want my friend to be unhappy all her life. Jiejia, give up. It is better to have a short pain than a long pain. If you continue like this, it is not a solution at all. These words, Wang Shui had wanted to say to Zhou Jie for a long time, but she didn't have the chance before. This time, Wang Shui took advantage of the fact that both of them were in a rush to talk. Wang Shui simply made it clear. She didn't want Zhou Jie to continue like this. This matter had to be settled. Should I give up? Zhou Jie said to herself. Yeah, Jie, it is time to make a decision. Wang Shui nodded. Zhou Jie frowned. No one knew what she was thinking, but her eyes became a little firm. Wang Shui, I have decided. Zhou Jie bit her lip and finally spoke. Really? Jie, that's great. Wang Shui said happily, are you ready to give up? Wang Shui, why do moths fly into the fire? Zhou Jie didn't answer Wang Shui's question, but asked another question. When Wang Shui heard Zhou Jie's question, she felt that something was wrong. It seems that something is wrong. Moths are subconscious. They don't have a normal consciousness. Wang Shui had to explain, hoping that Zhou Jie could understand that moths and people were different. Yeah, subconscious. Zhou Jie nodded. Wang Shui, let's put it this way. I have thought of him as a part of my life. If one day, I really can't see him again, I may. Zhou Jie didn't continue, but Wang Shui was shocked. Because what Zhou Jie wanted to say was definitely not something good. AI. Wang Shui sighed helplessly. Jie, I really don't know what to say to you. Well, if Suya really comes back, what will you do? If you think of a solution to this problem, then I won't persuade you to give up in the future. Instead, I will support you more. Suya. I don't know. She should hate me. Zhou Jie shook her head. Yeah, Jie, it's good that you know. As long as Suya is there, it's impossible for you. Wang Shui said. But, if I talk to Suya, she should be able to forgive me. Zhou Jie said stupidly. Chapter 3:11. Forgive. What's the use of forgiving? Even if she forgives you for what you did in the past, do you think she will give her lover to you? Wang Shui immediately retorted, Jie, stop dreaming. Wake up. You are right. She won't give him to me. Zhou Jie lowered her head in frustration. The reason why Zhou Jie had been working hard on Suya was because she understood Yang Ming's feelings for Suya. Even if Suya was hot-headed and gave her lover away, Yang Ming wouldn't agree. The fear hidden in the depths of her heart was ruthlessly spoken by Wang Shui. Zhou Jie's mood could be imagined. Yeah. Jie, since you know it, don't make unnecessary efforts. Wang Shui said, it's not wrong to work hard, but if you know that there is no result and still work hard, then you are a fool. But, what if I talk to her? Zhou Jie said to herself. Talk to her. What do you mean? Wang Shui was stunned. You mean, you want to be Yang Ming's concubine? I don't know. I really don't know. Don't ask me. Zhou Jie said sadly, let's talk about it later. If she is really willing, then I don't ask for much, as long as I can see him every day. Zhou Jie. Wang Shui said with some exasperation, are you possessed by the devil? Do you have any idea what you're saying? You are so excellent in all aspects, but you actually have the idea of being a man's concubine. I really don't know what to say to you. Do you think Suya will agree? Is she a fool? Finding a concubine for her lover. Zhou Jie simply didn't speak. If she said one sentence, Wang Shui would have 10 sentences waiting for her. But in her opinion, Wang Shui's words were all nonsense, just passing wind. I really admire you. You defeated me. Wang Shui looked at Zhou Jijia as if she expected better from her. You are ruthless. You are ruthless. How did I get to know a friend like you? Wang Shui was helpless. Okay. Do what you want. As long as you're happy. Thank you, Wang Shui. Zhou Jijia forced a smile. This time it was Wang Shui's turn to be speechless. Yang Ming, Zhang Bin, and Zhao Sisi ate at a small restaurant not far from the school entrance. Then, Zhang Bin asked Zhao Sisi to go back to school first. He told her that he and Yang Ming had something important to do in the afternoon, so they might not be able to come back for dinner. Zhao Sisi was especially good in this aspect. She was very obedient. As long as it was a serious matter, she never interfered with Zhang Bin. This was also the reason why Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang were quite satisfied with her. Women only need to take care of their families. After sending Zhao Sisi back to her dorm, Yang Ming and Zhang Bin rushed to Zhang Jifang's company. Zhang Bin had already discussed with Zhang Jifang beforehand. Therefore, Zhang Jifang cancelled all the social engagements in the afternoon and waited in the office for Yang Ming and the others to come over. Zhang Jifang was smoking and looking out of the window quietly. Yes, this was an opportunity for Zhang's jewelry. An opportunity for development. Zhang Jifang previously felt that his son's good friend, Yang Ming, wasn't simple. Now it seemed that he was right. Originally, Zhang Jifang was worried that his son didn't have the talent for business. In the future, when he was 100 years old, his family business would be ruined by his son. Now it seemed that this possibility didn't exist anymore. His son met a good classmate, a good brother. If both of them worked hard together, not only would Zhang's business continue, but it might even reach a higher level. When Zhang Jifang heard that Zhang Bin said that the company had Lu Weishan's support, Zhang Jifang was very excited. Lu Weishan was already a master in the industry. With his support, the business would be smooth sailing. But everyone knew that Lu Weishan didn't care much about fame and fortune. He didn't participate in these worldly things. Many bosses who wanted to hire Lu Weishan as a reputable appraiser couldn't fulfill their wishes. Now that Lu Weishan took the initiative to participate, it must have something to do with Yang Ming. For Yang Ming to become Lu Weishan's godson, Zhang Jifang was very curious. This matter was too magical, or it could be said that Yang Ming was too lucky. Yes, Zhang Jifang always thought that Yang Ming's luck was amazing. In Tingcheng, he opened 2 pieces of jadeite and some high-quality jadeite. What kind of luck did he need? It was simply a burst of luck. Dang, dang, dang. There was a knock on the office door. Zhang Jifang collected his thoughts and turned around. Please come in. Dad, we are here. Zhang Bin said once he entered the door. Where's the water? I'm so thirsty. Drink some water. Uncle Zhang. Yang Ming nodded to Zhang Jifang and greeted him. You are here. Yang Ming, sit down quickly. Zhang Jifang said as he ordered the secretary outside to prepare tea. Have you eaten? Let's find a place to eat. Zhang Jifang asked. We have eaten, Uncle Zhang. Yang Ming said with a smile, you haven't eaten yet. I have eaten. I'm afraid that you haven't eaten yet. Zhang Jifang shook his head and said, let's go. Let's find a coffee shop to sit down. There's no need for that. It's good to do it in the office. Yang Ming didn't have the habit of doing business in a coffee shop. That's right, Dad. We haven't even warmed up our butts, and you want to go out. Zhang Bin said. All right, let's do it in the office. I will ask the secretary to buy some fruits. Zhang Jifang said as he got up and left the door. After a while, Zhang Jifang came back with 2 cups of tea. He placed them on the coffee table in front of Yang Ming and Zhang Bin and said, Yang Ming, I heard from Zhang Bin that you want to open a company. Yes, Uncle Zhang. Yang Ming nodded. My godfather. Professor Lu Weishan wanted me to do something by myself, so he gave me a small amount of money. I want to start a small jewelry company with Zhang Bin. Oh. How big of a company do you want to start? Zhang Jifang nodded and asked. Godfather gave me 5 million. I don't know how big it will be. Yang Ming still didn't know anything about doing business, so he didn't dare to take out more money. This 5 million was just a test. If there was really a development, then it wouldn't be too late to invest more. 5 million. Zhang Jifang took a deep breath. Although Yang Ming didn't say much, Zhang Jifang was still surprised. Lu Weishan actually took out so much money for Yang Ming to operate. But he also knew that Lu Weishan wasn't a person who cared about money. If he and Yang Ming got along well, this wasn't impossible. If he knew that Yang Ming's imperial jade was sold for hundreds of millions of dollars, he would be scared to death. The current assets of Zhang's jewelry were only tens of millions. Yang Ming suddenly took out half of Zhang's jewelry. Moreover, it was cash. Cash and assets were different. Cash could do a lot of things. When Zhang Jifang started his business, he had to rely on himself for a lot of things. But Yang Ming didn't need to do that. His own resources were his own resources. With the relationship with Lu Weishan, he could save a lot of unnecessary money. Therefore, the scale of the company started with 5 million was likely to be bigger than Zhang's jewelry. Fuck. Zhang Bin was drinking water. When he heard Yang Ming mention 5 million, he almost choked to death. Bro, you are so rich. This is my godfather's money. Although he gave it to me to start my business, I can't just waste it blindly. Yang Ming shook his head and said. Yang Ming is right. Money should be used in the right place. You haven't reached the age of enjoyment yet. You should work hard. Zhang Jifang nodded and said, Well, Yang Ming, tell me your thoughts. I want to use this money to start a jewelry company with Zhang Bin. Wouldn't it conflict with Uncle Zhang? Yang Ming asked with a smile. What conflict? Business is for everyone to do. How can one person do it all? Besides, if you bring Zhang Bin along, it's understandable for the son to steal the father's business. Zhang Jifang laughed. Hee hee. I think this way. For this company, I will take 60% of the shares, which is my godfather's share. The remaining 40% will be given to Zhang Bin. Uncle Zhang, do you think this arrangement is okay? Yang Ming expressed his thoughts. Before Zhang Jifang spoke, Zhang Bin wasn't willing. Yang Ming, is this how you do things? You think it's too little? Yang Ming asked with a smile, how about 50-50? Fuck. Am I that kind of person? I'm saying that you don't do things properly. The money is from your godfather. You give me 40% of the shares. Aren't you afraid that I will burn my hands? Zhang Bin and Yang Ming didn't have to distinguish between each other, but when he heard that the money was from Lu Weishan, he had to consider it thoroughly. In some aspects, Zhang Bin was still very smart. Yeah, Zhang Bin is right. Zhang Jifang nodded. I know that you two brothers have a good relationship, but the money in your hands isn't yours. It's Professor Lu's. What you did wasn't very appropriate. Chapter 312. Yang Ming nodded after listening. Yes, he really didn't think so much just now. He just felt that Zhang Bing was his good brother. It was not a big deal to give him some shares. But now, he had to put himself in Zhang Bing's shoes. Zhang Bin thought that the money was from Lu Weishan. If he took 40% of the shares, it wouldn't be kind. Seeing that Yang Ming was in a dilemma, Zhang Jifang said, Yang Ming, how about this? I have a suggestion. What do you think? Uncle Zhang, please say it. Yang Ming said quickly. If you invest, Zhang Bing will do it with you. He can't not take a cent. How about this? I'll give him 1 million, and he will take 20% of the shares. What do you think? Zhang Jifang said. If that's the case, then 40%. Yang Ming said. No, 20% is already a bargain. Zhang Jifang shook his head and said, friendship is friendship. Business is business. Alright, then we will do according to what Uncle Zhang said. Yang Ming saw that Zhang Jifang's tone was firm, so he could only do this. But it wasn't a big deal. When he became rich, he wouldn't forget Zhang Bin. Dad, you really want to invest 1 million? Zhang Bin looked at Zhang Jifang excitedly. Doing business with Yang Ming felt different from doing business with his family. Two good brothers starting a business together. Just thinking about it was interesting. If he didn't invest a cent and still took the shares, Zhang Bin wouldn't feel comfortable in his heart. Now, since his father was willing to invest in him, it couldn't be better. As long as you could train well, it doesn't matter even if you lose all the money. Zhang Jifang smiled. You know, my biggest wish is for you to follow in my footsteps and help me do business. Hee, Dad, your wish is probably hard to realize. Zhang Bin smiled. Why? Zhang Jifang was stunned. He looked at Zhang Bin with a puzzled expression. When my company with Yang Ming becomes big, who will come back to your small company? Zhang Bin scratched his head and said. Ha 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 ha. Zhang Jifang laughed heartily. Great, it's good that you have this ambition. If that day comes, I will be happier if you don't come back. Then, your wife will take care of the business at home. That's right. Zhang Bin nodded. Yang Ming looked at the father and son. Yang Ming thought of his father. He didn't know if his father would support him in doing business. Yang Ming's father, Yang Dehai, was a relatively conservative person. It was enough for Yang Ming to have a good job. He didn't want Yang Ming to take risks and start a business again. It seemed that he had to have a good talk with his father. What is the target customer group? Zhang Jifang asked. This is also a headache for me. There are too many jewelry companies now. It's difficult to stand out. Yang Ming said honestly. This is not bad. But you are different from others. Your godfather's reputation in the industry is very well known. With his presence, your company will soon become famous. Zhang Jifang said, however, if you don't have some outstanding business, it won't be easy to make it big, but it shouldn't be a problem to maintain it. Yeah, Uncle Zhang, do you have any good suggestions? Yang Ming nodded and asked. Suggestions? It's hard to say now. I have to think about it and discuss it with my peers. Zhang Jifang said, doing business is not about making empty promises. It has to be real. You must go through a serious market research and come up with a well-thought-out plan. Yang Ming nodded after listening. That is indeed the case. It's okay. Don't worry. Uncle Zhang, you can think about it slowly. But the company's procedures can be prepared now. Zhang Jifang said, I will let my secretary calculate and give you a list of materials to prepare. Then, you can prepare the materials according to the list. I will find someone to handle it for you. It was already 4:00 in the afternoon when he left Zhang Jifang's company. Yang Ming planned to go home at night and tell his parents about this. After all, he couldn't hide from his parents when he started a company. Yang Ming also planned to let his parents enjoy life as soon as possible. After he started a company, he could buy some high-end things for his parents. Yang Ming, are you going back to school? Zhang Bin asked. Send me home. Yang Ming said, if you are free tomorrow morning, come and pick me up. Forget it. I can't get up so early. How about I leave my car downstairs? I will take a taxi back. Zhang Bin said. I'm just kidding. I don't know how to take a taxi. Yang Ming smiled. Zhang Bin sent Yang Ming to the Songjiang bus factory's residential area. After Yang Ming got off the car, he told Zhang Bin, you should think about how our company can be creative and make a lot of money. And I will discuss with Zhao Sisi in the evening. Zhang Bin nodded. Go to the hotel to discuss. Yang Ming asked. Fuck, bro, you are tricking me. Zhang Bin said wretchedly. Who is tricking you? Remember to wear a condom. Yang Ming smiled and closed the door. Fuck. Zhang Bin started the car and returned to school. Big Ming. Yang Ming took 2 steps and someone called him from behind. Yang Ming turned around and found out that it was his mother. Mom. Big Ming, why are you back so early? Mother Yang asked, whose car is that? Oh, it's Zhang Bin's car. We just went to Uncle Zhang's company. Yang Ming explained. So it's like this. Why didn't you invite us to your house? Mother Yang complained. Zhang Bin still has something to do later. Yang Ming thought, Zhang Bin is in a hurry to go to the hotel with Zhao Sisi. How can he have time to come to our house? Right, Mom, why did you get off work so early? Nothing. Mother Yang said with an abnormal look, I got off work early today. Got off work early. Yang Ming was a bit suspicious. Currently, he was working as a temporary worker in the community. He got off work on time. There was no such thing as getting off work early. Yeah, don't worry about me. What do you want to eat tonight? Mom will cook for you. Mother Yang said. Oh, Mom, don't cook. Let's wait for Dad to come back and eat out. Yang Ming suggested. Go out. Let's buy some ingredients and cook. It's quite expensive. Mother Yang hesitated and said. It's okay, Mom. I will treat you and Dad. Yang Ming smiled. AI. Mother Yang sighed and didn't say anything. She went home with Yang Ming. Yang Ming was a bit puzzled. What happened to Mom today? Why do I always feel that something is wrong? However, Yang Ming knew that it was useless to ask. In many cases, parents still treated him as a child. Back in the room, Yang Ming first sorted out his things. There were still many gifts from Hong Kong that had not been sent out. Among them, there were gifts for Yang Li and Sun Jia. Yang Ming didn't want to see Yang Li, but Yang Ming still had some expectations for Sun Jia. He didn't know why, but Yang Ming always had a special feeling for this woman. Whether it was temptation or something else, Yang Ming couldn't tell. Song Hang would return to Songjiang in a few days. When he left, he was still a small staff member. But now, when he returned to Songjiang again, he was a provincial official. This time, the head office sent Song Hang to serve as the general manager of the Songjiang branch. This meant that in the company in Songjiang, he was the boss, the kind that couldn't be disobeyed. The reason why Song Hang climbed so fast was that he had a big backer. His current wife's father was a shareholder of the head office. Although it was only a small shareholder, it was still very influential. So, Song Hang climbed up like this. Although power and money were in his hands, Song Hang's only regret was his woman. His wife was really ugly. She was even somewhat unpresentable. Not to mention that she was fat, but her mouth was full of bad breath. The most intolerable thing was that she had body odor. If it weren't for his current status, Song Hang really didn't want to get close to his wife. But there was no other way. For his own future, Song Hang had to go back every day to hand in his rations. Doing it with a sow, this feeling was really uncomfortable. Fortunately, Song Hang finally made it to the day where he could stand out. He was sent to Songjiang for experience. His wife was a native southerner. She couldn't stand the cold in the north, so she didn't follow. She planned to wait until the weather was warmer next year. Song Hang could finally be free for a while. Song Hang felt happy when he thought about it. These few years were really hard to endure. Every night in bed, Song Hang didn't have a chance to go out and steal food. Even if he wanted to, he didn't have the strength. Now, Song Hang really wanted to laugh twice. Chapter 313. Song Hang came from the mountains. Originally, he didn't care so much about women. Looking for a wife, so what? Wasn't it the same once the lights were off? If it was in the countryside, he might find a village girl to spend his life with. Now, his wife was at least a young lady from a rich family. However, with the continuous improvement of his position in the company, the impact of Hong Kong on Song Hang was too great. Gradually, Song Hang began to hate his wife. The man's lecherous nature was developed to the extreme. Song Hang missed Xiaoqing a little. Why was I so stupid and naive? I actually believed in the legend in my hometown. A white tiger woman brings bad luck to her husband. It was simply nonsense. Especially in Hong Kong, there was a saying that a white tiger brings good luck to her husband. Song Hang regretted it even more. Therefore, when he returned to Songjiang this time, Song Hang decided to find an opportunity to talk to Xiaoqing. As for the Yang Ming that he met last time, Song Hang didn't think that he was Xiaoqing's boyfriend. In this materialistic society, how many girls didn't worship money? Song Hang didn't think that Xiaoqing could escape. After he returned, he was the general manager of the Songjiang branch. With this identity, it wasn't a big deal to have a few mistresses, right? He had returned to his hometown in glory. He should have a lot of face in front of his original friends. After Yang Dehai returned home, he saw that Mother Yang got off work early, so he asked curiously, "Why are you back so early?" Old Yang, I was laid off." Mother Yang shook her head and sighed. "Laid off? Aren't you a temporary worker? How can you be laid off?" asked Yang Dehai. "I can't even be a temporary worker. Today, the director of the neighborhood committee of our community arranged for his relative to replace my original position in the community. So, he let me settle the salary and come back." Mother Yang shook her head and said, "Then you don't have to do it. You can just rest at home." Yang Dehai said. The current situation was like this. Things had already happened. It was useless to say more. His wife was a temporary worker. She had the right to fire you at any time. You had no way to reason at all. "But with our family's conditions, if I don't go to work, should I find a housekeeper to work as a timer tomorrow?" Mother Yang said. "Forget it. That work is tiring. You are so old. How can you do that? Those are all done by young people." Yang Dehai shook his head and said, "Besides, isn't our son promising? We don't have to work so hard to earn money." "That's true, but our son is so tired. We can't take his money, right?" Mother Yang sighed and said, "Then I will go to the labor market tomorrow to take a look. If it doesn't work, then I will do a small business. Before I was laid off, I was also an accountant. I can still do some calculations. Business. This idea is not bad. Now, many self-employed people are rich. Why don't we work together and see what we can open? Yang Dahai knew that his lover couldn't stay at home, so he agreed with her idea. And I will go to the market tomorrow and see what I can do. Isn't there a market near our house for rent? Mother Yang nodded and said. Hee, I think it's fine. Yang Dahai smiled and said, Right, what are we eating for dinner? I forgot to tell you. Big Ming is back. He said that he wants to treat us to a restaurant. Mother Yang suddenly said. Big Ming is back. Yang Dahai was stunned. Why are we going to a restaurant? Can't we just do it ourselves? Forget it. Our son is happy. Let's just follow him. Mother Yang waved her hand and said, I will call him. From the moment Yang Dahai entered the door, Yang Ming began to pay attention to the situation outside. His parents' conversation fell into his eyes without missing a word. It turned out that his mother was laid off. No wonder her expression was so bad. However, according to his current situation, he didn't need his mother to go out and earn money. What surprised Yang Ming was that his mother was actually an accountant before she was laid off. This was the first time he heard of this. His mother was laid off when Yang Ming was young. Later, she worked as a temporary worker in several units. Her last job was in the community. Yang Ming really didn't know what his mother used to do. When Yang Ming heard his mother say that she wanted to do some business, he couldn't help but be happy. Especially when he heard that his father also agreed, Yang Ming was very happy. Originally, Yang Ming was worried that his parents would object to him starting a company. Now it seemed that they wouldn't. His father wasn't as conservative as he thought. However, Yang Ming had a new idea. Since his mother used to be an accountant, now that she was out of work, she still wanted to find something to do. Why not let her be an accountant in the company? His company just happened to be short of manpower. Big Ming, your dad is back. Do you want to eat? His mother's voice came over. Yang Ming opened the door and said, Let's go. I will put on my clothes. Okay, you hurry up. Your dad won't take off his clothes. Mother Yang nodded and said. Yang Ming put on his sweater and coat and then went out of the room. The family of three locked the door and went out of the house. Because it was his family's meal, Yang Ming didn't go to those flashy big restaurants. Instead, he found a good braised pork ribs near his home. Even so, Mother Yang still complained, Isn't this restaurant's food quite expensive? Since we are out, don't be afraid of spending money. Yang Dahai's mentality was adjusted quickly. Don't be afraid of spending money when you are out. The customers of this braised pork ribs were very popular. It wasn't time yet, but more than half of the seats were taken. Yang Ming found a slightly quieter seat, then he ordered a braised pork ribs, 2 stir-fried dishes, and 2 bottles of beer. Big Ming, how can you drink? Mother Yang complained. Hee, Big Ming is a college student. Drinking is normal. Yang Dahai didn't say anything. Since Yang Ming was admitted to college, he was very happy every day. Dad, Mom, in fact, I have an important thing to tell you. Yang Ming poured a glass of beer for Yang Dahai. Oh. What's the matter? Do you have a girlfriend? Do you want to introduce her to Mom and Dad? Yang Dahai said jokingly. Dad, I'm talking about a serious matter. A girlfriend is a family matter. Yang Ming said with a smile. What serious matter is a family matter? Isn't it your business? Mother Yang said, If you have something to say, say it quickly. Your dad and I are mentally prepared. Mom, I want to start a company. Yang Ming hesitated and said. Start a company. Mother Yang said, Big Ming, what are you talking about? Do you have a fever? Yang Dahai shook his head at Mother Yang and used his eyes to stop her from continuing. Big Ming, you said you want to start a company, right? Yeah, Dad, Mom, I just want to talk to you about this. Yang Ming nodded and said, Zhang Bin and I want to start a company together. What company? What business? In addition, do you have the capital? Yang Dahai asked. Just start a jewelry company. Uncle Zhang will invest 1 million, and Godfather will invest 5 million. Yang Ming said. 1 million. Before Yang Dahai finished his surprise, he suddenly heard Yang Ming say, 5 million. Yang Dahai couldn't help but look at Mother Yang. After a long time, Yang Dahai said, Yang Ming, is what you said true? Dad, Mom, how can I joke about this kind of thing? Yang Ming said seriously. Your Uncle Zhang didn't object. Yang Dahai was baffled. Giving a child 1 million to do business, this courage is really extraordinary. This afternoon, I have already gone to Uncle Zhang's company. Uncle Zhang expressed his support for our idea. Yang Ming said, the most important thing is that Godfather just took out some money to let me train. In the future, there may be a heavier burden for me. Yang Ming first gave his parents a dose of precaution. When he started a company in the future, he didn't have to work so hard. He could just push the responsibility to Lu Weishan. Big Ming, you tell Dad the truth. Are you sure you can run the company well? Yang Dahai said after a moment of hesitation. Dad, you can rest assured. Uncle Zhang does this, and I have also done it in his company. There is definitely no problem in running the company. The key is how much to earn. Yang Ming said. Since you have confidence, then I won't say anything more. Your Godfather and your Uncle Zhang definitely know more than me. If they think you can do it, then you must have the ability. Yang Dahai said, Dad can only support you spiritually. Ha, Dad, you just need to support me spiritually. Yang Ming said happily. It seemed that his father had agreed. Dahai, you don't want to say anything. Mother Yang said with some worry, Big Ming is taking other people's money. What if we lose? We don't have the money to return it to them. Mom, the business hasn't started yet. Why are you thinking about losing money? Yang Ming said with a smile, right, I still have an idea. In this way, you don't have to worry about losing money. Chapter 314. What idea? Mother Yang looked at Yang Ming strangely. Is there a guaranteed profit in business? Making tofu. Making tofu is the safest business. If it is hard, it will be dried tofu. If it is thin, it will be tofu pudding. If it is thin, it will be tofu skin. If it is dry, it will be soy milk. If it is stinky, it will be stinky tofu. If it can't be sold in winter, it will be like a natural refrigerator outside. It will be frozen into frozen tofu. It is a guaranteed profit. Yang Ming smiled. You child, you are talking nonsense. How can you think of making tofu with a few million yuan? Mother Yang naturally didn't believe it. If you have something to say it quickly. Don't talk nonsense. Hee, I was just joking to ease the atmosphere. Yang Ming said, Mom, aren't you laid off? How did you know I was laid off? Mother Yang said strangely. She didn't forget to look at Yang Dahai. Yang Dahai shook his head, indicating that he didn't say it. When you were talking to Dad just now, your voice was too loud. I accidentally heard it. Yang Ming said perfunctorily, Mom, you used to be an accountant. Yeah, when you were in kindergarten, Mom was an accountant in a state-owned enterprise. Later on, the enterprise went bankrupt, so Mom was laid off. Mother Yang said. Mom, I want you to help in my company. You can be an accountant and manage the money. Then, I won't have to worry about losing money. Yang Ming said. You want me to go? Can I do it? Mother Yang said with some surprise, but it could be seen that she was very happy. Why can't you? You are an accountant. This time, I want you to be an accountant. It's not like you are interfering with the business. Yang Ming said. So it is like this. Mother Yang's heart was somewhat active. If I am in the company, at least I can see the flow of money. It can be considered as doing my part. No. Yang Dehai suddenly said, you can't let your mom go. Why? Yang Ming and Mother Yang were both stunned at the same time. Why did Yang Dehai suddenly object? Big Ming, this company was founded by you and Zhang Bin. Moreover, the funds were provided by your godfather and Zhang Bin's father. Why did you ask your mother to manage the money? Yang Dehai said earnestly, what will others think at that time? Did they say that you appointed people by favoritism? That's right. Mother Yang nodded after listening and said, Big Ming, indeed, I didn't think about this matter. In the company, whoever manages the money is equivalent to controlling the lifeline. At that time, even if we didn't take the money, we are afraid of others talking nonsense. Dad. Mother. You're thinking too much. Yang Ming didn't know whether to laugh or cry. My godfather said that even if the company was given to me, he wouldn't take a single cent of the money I earned. Given to you? Yang Dehai was stunned. You said that your godfather gave you so much money. Dad, my godfather is actually very famous in the jewelry industry. He is not short of money. Yang Ming explained, his work can be sold for hundreds of millions of dollars. After Yang Dehai and Mother Yang heard it, they looked at each other. Although they knew that Yang Ming's godfather had a high status, they didn't expect him to be so capable. A work can be sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars. What kind of concept is this? My lover and I can't earn this much money in our lifetime. Not to mention hundreds of thousands of dollars, we can't even earn hundreds of thousands of yuan. Big Ming, let's do this. If you have time, make an appointment with your godfather and godmother. Your mother and I want to meet with them so that we can feel at ease. Otherwise, if he gives you so much money, we are really uneasy. Yang Dehai hesitated and said. That's fine. We'll talk about being an accountant when the time comes. Anyway, the company is preparing. It's too early to say anything. Yang Ming nodded and said, my godfather and godmother are free at any time. Why don't we visit them after dinner? It's not good to not make an appointment in advance, right? Yang Dehai said with some concern, your godfather is also a celebrity. He should have some social engagements at night, right? Dad, godfather is a person who is indifferent. He doesn't care about fame and fortune. Yang Ming smiled and said, if godfather likes social engagements, the people who invite him to dinner have to queue up until next year. He goes home every night, and when I am at school, I often go to see him. If that's the case, then that's fine. Then let's visit. Yang Dehai nodded and said, do you want to buy some gifts? But don't. Godfather has a lot of gifts at home. Yang Ming quickly shook his head and said, we are all family. You don't have to be so polite. Just buy a few pounds of fruit later. This child. Yang Dehai shook his head with a smile, but he still said, then I'll listen to you. Yang Dehai also knew that Yang Ming knew more than himself, and his son had grown up. He understood the ways of the world better than himself, so whatever he said, he must have his reasons. When the meal was served, the family of three talked about Yang Ming's things at school. As they talked, the topic moved to Yang Ming's marriage. Big Ming, when are you going to bring Chen Mengyan home? Mother Yang asked with a smile. Mom, this isn't urgent. Our relationship hasn't been decided yet. Yang Ming was a little embarrassed. It seemed that he had to hurry up with Qin Mengyan. Mother still recognized Qin Mengyan. Why aren't you in a hurry? Let me tell you, Big Ming. I have taken a fancy to Qin Mengyan. I don't recognize other daughters-in-law. Mother Yang said, now the competition is so fierce. The ratio of men and women in the university is already imbalanced. That's right, Yang Ming. You are in a university of science and engineering, not a normal school or art school. There are too many monks and too little gruel. You can't let others take the lead. For the first time, Yang Dehai also echoed. Yang Ming was speechless, but what his parents said was indeed the truth. The number of people who had designs on Qin Mengyan in school was frightening. So Yang Ming said, okay, Mom, I know. I will fight for it. Fight for it? No, if I don't urge you, you won't be interested. Mother Yang shook her head and said, let's do this. You give me a military order. As for when, there must be a time limit. There is still a time limit. Yang Ming smiled bitterly and shook his head. I will try my best. Mom, this thing can't be forced. What forced? I can see that Qin Mengyan is also interested in you. Mother Yang said, when you two called in high school, I knew it. So, Chinese New Year. During Chinese New Year, you will bring Qin Mengyan to our house as a guest. From now on, there are still 3 months. Is there any problem? This. Yang Ming had to nod and say, okay. But we agreed that I will prepare the red packet this year. Mother Yang said. Okay, Mom, let's eat. The food is getting cold. Yang Ming thought, I can only wait and see. If it doesn't work, I will say that Qin Mengyan and her family went to other places for Chinese New Year. After the meal, Yang Ming found the waiter to settle the bill. Then, he took out 3,000 yuan which he had just taken from the ATM. Dad, Mom, this is 3,000 yuan. You and Mom can use it first. After settling the bill, Yang Ming pushed the money to his mother. Big Ming, what are you doing? Your dad and I have money to use. Mother Yang said quickly. Mom, I have money. I earned tens of thousands of yuan last month. Yang Ming said with a smile. Big Ming, you are now in the stage of starting a business. When you need money, your mom and I have money. Yang Dehai said. Dad, Mom, you can use it. Starting a business isn't about spending money from my own pocket. This is a separate matter. There are accounts. If I take money from my own pocket, Zhang Bin won't agree. Yang Ming said. Okay then. Then I will take it. Mother Yang nodded. She also knew that Yang Ming was filial to her, so she didn't say anything. The family of 3 came out of the restaurant. There were many taxis waiting at the entrance of the steamed ribs. The 3 of them directly took a taxi and went straight to Songjiang Industry University. The car drove all the way to the entrance of the community. Yang Ming showed his pass, and the security at the entrance of the community let him in. He rang the doorbell of Lu Weishan's house. He didn't expect Xiao Qing to open the door. Xiao Qing saw Yang Ming's parents behind Yang Ming and couldn't help but be stunned. She looked at Yang Ming with some astonishment. Sister Xiao Qing, these are my parents. Yang Ming smiled and introduced them. Ah. Xiao Qing's face immediately turned red. Am I meeting the parents? Thinking of her relationship with Yang Ming, Xiao Qing was a little embarrassed. Uncle, Auntie, hello. Xiao Qing tried to make herself normal and then greeted them. Oh. You are Yang Ming's god sister, Xiao Qing, right? Mother Yang said with a smile, "You look quite pretty." Really? Xiao Qing was a little happy after hearing it. Although the matter between her and Yang Ming couldn't be exposed, it was also a very happy thing to be able to get the affirmation of her lover's mother. "Auntie, you are the beautiful one." Chapter 3:15. Qing Qing, is there a guest? Chu Huifang came out of the house and saw Yang Ming and the people behind him. She was stunned, but then she said, "Big Ming, are these your parents?" "Yeah, godmother." Yang Ming quickly introduced, "This is my mother, Meng Xiuhua, and my father, Yang Dehai." "Dad, Mom, this is my godmother, Chu Huifang." "Oh, welcome. I'm older. I'll call you Sister Meng and Brother Yang." Chu Huifang smiled and nodded. "That's great, Sister Chu. We won't decline," said Yang Dehai. Come. Sit in the house. I'll call old Lu out." Chu Huifang said enthusiastically, "Qing Qing, pour tea for your Uncle Yang." "Okay." Xiao Qing nodded and went to the kitchen to work. Xiao Qing's mood was very nervous now. Pour tea. Is it to serve tea to mother-in-law? Xiao Qing unconsciously thought of this, so her hands were trembling as she poured the tea. After pouring the tea, Xiao Qing walked over with the tea tray with difficulty. On her forehead, there was some sweat inadvertently. "Uncle, Auntie, please have some tea." Xiao Qing put the tea tray on the coffee table. Her hand trembled, and she almost couldn't hold it. Yang Ming was shocked. "What's wrong with Xiao Qing today? When I first entered the door, I noticed that her face wasn't right. Now, she's so impatient. Did something happen? Could it be that Wang Shifan didn't listen to my advice and came to trouble Xiao Qing again?" Yang Ming decided to find an opportunity to ask in a while, but now, Yang Ming quickly helped Xiao Qing hold the tea tray and looked at Xiao Qing with some concern. "I'm sorry." Xiao Qing shook her head with self-deprecation. Her identity in the outside world was Yang Ming's godsister. How could she do something inappropriate? So, she quickly calmed herself down. "Girl, why is your face not right? Did you catch a cold?" Mother Yang observed Xiao Qing's strangeness. "You see that your body is still trembling. Is there any problem?" "Ah." Xiao Qing was shocked. She didn't expect the observant Mother Yang to see through her. Fortunately, Meng Xiuhua didn't think too much about it. She just thought that Xiao Qing was sick. "Sister Xiao Qing, did you catch a cold? Then why did you come out? Go and rest." As Yang Ming spoke, he winked at Xiao Qing with his back facing his parents. "Oh, yeah, I have too much work these 2 days. I can't finish the school's matters. Maybe I'm tired." Xiao Qing said knowingly, "I'm sorry, Uncle and Auntie. I made you worry. This child, go and rest if you're sick. In the future, we will be a family, so why are you still so polite?" Mother Yang said reproachfully. "Ha! A family?" Xiao Qing was stunned, but she also knew that Mother Yang meant to be a foster relative. However, Xiao Qing's thoughts still unconsciously wandered elsewhere. "Qing, what's wrong? Are you sick?" At this time, Chu Huifang and Lu Weishan walked out of the house. Chu Huifang said with some surprise, "Wasn't everything fine during dinner?" "Ugh. Mom, I'm just too tired from work these 2 days." Xiao Qing said. "Qing, if you're tired, then go and rest." Lu Weishan was a student in the school. He knew that Xiao Qing had some problems in the computer science department, so he didn't doubt it. "Okay, Dad and Mom." Xiao Qing nodded. "Uncle and Auntie, I'm really sorry. I'm going to rest first, it's okay. You're all children. Don't be so polite. Mother Yang said indifferently. Big Ming, you go and see your sister Xiaoqing. I have something to say to your mother and godparents. Yang Dehai said after a moment of hesitation. Some words weren't very convenient to say when Yang Ming was present, so Yang Dehai wanted to send Yang Ming away. Originally, there was no reason. Now that Xiaoqing was sick, he would let him, as her younger brother, take care of her. Lu Weishan also saw Yang Dehai's thoughts, so he nodded and said, Go ahead, Big Ming. Your sister is the best to you. Okay, then Dad, Mom, godparents, you guys chat. I'll go and see. Yang Ming couldn't wait to find an opportunity to contact Xiaoqing. Now that he had a legitimate reason, how could he not go? As for his parents and godparents, Yang Ming wasn't worried at all. Before starting the business, Yang Ming had already reached a consensus with Lu Weishan. Yang Ming wasn't afraid of being exposed. Yang Ming tiptoed to Xiaoqing's room, pushed the door and went in. At this moment, Xiaoqing was sitting on the bed in a daze. Xiaoqing always thought that she was a mature and rational woman. She didn't care about any status. On the surface, she was Yang Ming's sister, but she was his lover silently behind his back. Xiaoqing thought that it would be fine to live like this for a lifetime. However, when she suddenly saw Yang Ming's parents today, the little bit of extravagant hope in Xiaoqing's heart was ignited instantly. Yes, Xiaoqing suddenly had a feeling of looking forward to being recognized. Even if she couldn't be Yang Ming's wife legitimately, if she could get his parents' approval, Xiaoqing was already satisfied. Even so, Xiaoqing knew that this was an extravagant hope. She couldn't trouble Yang Ming. Since she had chosen, then she would continue to be silent. Xiaoqing sighed and then calmed down. She decided not to make such a low-level mistake in the future. Once or twice, she could use illness as an excuse. What if it was a long time? It was inevitable that some clues would be found out. At that time, she would be causing trouble for Yang Ming. Dear, why are you sighing? Yang Ming gently came to Xiaoqing's side from behind and hugged her. Ah! Xiaoqing was shocked. She quickly turned around and looked at Yang Ming with some blame. Why are you here? Go back quickly. Don't let your parents see anything. Hee, what are you afraid of? If they see it, then so be it. What can they do? Yang Ming said with a smile. Don't talk nonsense. How can you be so impulsive? Xiaoqing frowned and said, Be obedient and go back quickly. Sister Xiaoqing, you misunderstood. It was my godfather and my parents who asked me to come and see you. Yang Ming said with a smile, They may have something to say. It wasn't good for me to be present, so they asked me to come. I see. Xiaoqing breathed a sigh of relief. Why didn't you say so earlier? You scared me to death. Right, Sister Xiaoqing, what happened to you just now? Why are you so distracted? Yang Ming asked with concern. Isn't it because of you? Xiaoqing pointed at Yang Ming's forehead with her finger and said, I thought Uncle and Auntie came to me to denounce me. Don't joke around, hee. Yang Ming smiled embarrassedly. I thought it was because of Wang Xuefan. Right, Wang Century Xiongfeng Company didn't look for you again, right? They did. Xiaoqing saw that Yang Ming cared about her. She felt warm in her heart and deliberately dragged out the word. They looked for him again. It seems that I have to give him a deep lesson. Yang Ming frowned and said. Hee, you can't do those dangerous things anymore. Xiaoqing shook her head. They called me, but they just asked me to continue to pursue Wang Xuefan's responsibility. They also said that they would provide me with evidence. Ha! Yang Ming suddenly laughed when he heard it. No way. So exaggerated. Yeah, what did you do to him? Xiao Qing also smiled. Nothing. What can I do to him? Did he have an epiphany himself? Yang Ming said casually. Nonsense. Well, Yang Ming, I know you are good to me, but you have to promise me that you won't do such dangerous things in the future, okay? Xiao Qing persuaded, this time, that Huang Yukai didn't pursue your responsibility. You are lucky. If the matter is really investigated, do you think you can escape? I know, Sister Xiao Qing. I won't let you worry. Yang Ming nodded and said. He also knew that Wang Shifan was in the wrong, so he didn't dare to be serious. Otherwise, he wouldn't do things so ruthlessly. Then I won't say much. This time, I really thank you, Yang Ming. Xiao Qing sighed. Otherwise, I really don't know what to do. Sister Xiao Qing, what are you talking about? Yang Ming hugged Xiao Qing. There is no need to thank between us. Your business is my business. You have to remember to tell me if you have something. Do you understand? Xiao Qing nodded and felt warm in her heart. The feeling of being loved is really good. It turns out that this is true love. The kind of feelings that I had with Song Hang before were not feelings at all. Now that I think about it, there was no passion between the two people, and there was no warmth of mutual help. It was completely that kind of dull and tasteless feeling. However, the better Yang Ming was to her, the more uneasy Xiao Qing was. I still have something to hide from Yang Ming. Chapter 316. From the moment she had a spark with Yang Ming, this matter had been a sore point for Xiao Qing. She didn't dare to tell Yang Ming. She was afraid that Yang Ming wouldn't be able to accept it. Now, Xiao Qing found that she had fallen deeply in love with Yang Ming, and she couldn't extricate herself. Xiao Qing didn't dare to mention this matter again. She was afraid of losing Yang Ming. After all, this matter wasn't acceptable to everyone. Yang Ming seemed to be very open-minded, but Xiao Qing didn't dare to take this risk. So, this matter was dragged on indefinitely. Xiao Qing wanted to speak a few times, but when the words reached her mouth, she swallowed them. She kept saying to herself, next time, Xiao Qing couldn't make up her mind. Just at that moment, Xiao Qing almost said that matter, but in the end, she didn't say it. Xiao Qing wasn't an impulsive person. It could be seen from this point. But that matter still happened. Xiao Qing had some regrets, but I'm a mature woman. Sometimes it's normal to have some physiological needs, right? Xiao Qing was in a dilemma, but Yang Ming's big hand began to play tricks. There are people outside. Take it away. Xiao Qing recovered from her thoughts and patted Yang Ming's big hand. Hee, I have locked the door. Yang Ming smiled. What if Mom and Dad come in a while? If they can't come in, wouldn't they be suspicious? Xiao Qing said nervously. It's okay. Did you forget that I have a sixth sense? Yang Ming said. Liar. Okay then, but you can only touch it. You can't do that. Xiao Qing nodded with a blush. Oh. You still want to do that? Yang Ming pretended to be surprised and asked. Go to hell. You are so bad. You still want to make fun of your sister? Xiao Qing glared at Yang Ming. Yang Ming was just taking advantage of her. Even if he had the courage, he wouldn't dare to do anything else. His parents and godparents were still outside. Yang Ming didn't want to die yet. Although he was flirting with Xiao Qing here, on the other side, Yang Ming didn't forget to observe the movements in the living room. Seeing that his parents and godparents were almost done talking, Yang Ming also quickly stopped. What's wrong? Are you done touching? Xiao Qing looked at Yang Ming, who suddenly stopped. She found it strange. I can't get enough of it even if I touch it for the rest of my life. Yang Ming smiled and said, all right, I should go back now. See you at the old place tomorrow at noon. Tomorrow. I have been coming back to my parents' place for lunch these 2 days. Xiao Qing hesitated. Why don't you leave early after dinner? Just say that you left the documents at home and go back to get them, Yang Ming suggested. All right. Xiao Qing nodded. To be honest, she also wanted to do it. She was teased by Yang Ming for a long time, and she didn't have a place to vent. It was really a bit uncomfortable. Then I will go down now. They will be suspicious if I stay here for too long. Yang Ming said. Ah. Then you should go quickly. Xiao Qing said quickly. Have a good rest, dear sister Xiao Qing. Good night. Yang Ming nodded and opened the door. Xiao Qing lowered her head shyly like a child in love. Sure enough, when Yang Ming went out of the house, he saw Chu Huifang coming over. Big Ming, you are out. I wanted to call you. Godmother, are you done talking? Asked Yang Ming. We are done talking. Right, are you okay this Saturday? Asked Chu Huifang. No, what's wrong? Yang Ming nodded and said. On Saturday, let's eat together as a family. We will eat at home. Your godfather and your parents also have the same intention. The food at home is delicious and hygienic. Chu Huifang said, on Saturday, you should come early in the morning. Your mother also has to work with me. Okay, no problem. Yang Ming promised. It seemed that his parents' doubts had been completely solved. Judging from the smile on their faces, they must be very happy. After saying goodbye to his godparents, Yang Ming's family left the community. Big Ming, your godfather is very optimistic about you. Yang Dehai said, don't let him down. Hee, I won't. Dad, I will work hard. Yang Ming nodded and said. Just now, your godfather told me. It seems that he said that you gave him a piece of jade, so he didn't give you the money. Yang Dehai said, so, I am relieved. Great, Dad. So, you don't have to continue to work in the factory. You should rest and enjoy life. Yang Ming said very happily, in the future, the family will rely on me. Big Ming, your mother and I know your intentions. You want me and your mother to enjoy life and not work so hard anymore, right? Asked Yang Dehai. Yeah, Dad, don't you want to? Asked Yang Ming. Hee, Big Ming, your parents are working-class people. They have worked for half of their lives. They can't be idle. Yang Dehai said, look at me. I work in the factory. Although I have to go every day, I am very happy because I have something to do. Especially now that I know that I don't have to worry about the economic conditions at home, I have no worries. Going to work is a kind of enjoyment. Otherwise, I will stay at home all day long and stare at your mother. Won't I be bored to death? That's right, Big Ming. Your father is right. We can't be idle. If you let us stay at home, we will suffer. Mother Yang also smiled and said, we know that you have good intentions, but we really can't stay. You can travel. Yang Ming suggested, there are so many tourist attractions in China and abroad. You can travel more. Now you haven't graduated yet. Let's talk about it after you graduate from university. At that time, we have no worries. Yang Dehai said. Well, then I will listen to you, but don't be frugal in the future, okay? Yang Ming said, you don't have to always buy some cheap things, Big Ming, you don't understand. Your father and I go to the supermarket to buy specials and go to the market to bargain. In fact, this is a pleasure of life. Sometimes, although we can only save a few yuan, we feel very happy. Mother Yang smiled and said, this has nothing to do with being frugal. Ah, well, as long as you are happy. Yang Ming said helplessly. He really didn't think so much. It turned out that his parents had their own interests. It wasn't wishful thinking that they would be happy if he let them enjoy life at home and give them money to spend. His parents had their own living habits. They were already used to it. It was undoubtedly difficult and painful for them to change it again. Just like what his father said, if they didn't go to work, what would they do at home? Would they just be idle at home all day long? Yang Ming shook his head. It seems that my thinking is too simple. Yang Ming finally understood why in many online novels, the protagonists made a lot of money, but their parents still lived a dull life. That was a habit, the habit of the older generation. A familiar working environment, a familiar way of life. They wouldn't easily break this rule. Unless it was a last resort. In this case, Yang Ming also let them be. Yang Ming decided to care about them from other aspects. For example, he often bought some nutritional products for them, some high-end clothes for his father, and good cosmetics for his mother. He could only do so much. Well, Big Ming, the life of a rich man isn't what your father and I expected. You should be clear about what makes us happy, right? Mother Yang said. Ah. What? Yang Ming was stunned. It's the daughter-in-law. You bringing your girlfriend back is the happiest thing for me and your father. Mother Yang said. I know. Yang Ming broke into a sweat. After all, it was back to the original topic. Well, Big Ming, your mother and I are going home. You go back to school directly. Don't you still have classes tomorrow? When they walked to school, Yang Dehai instructed. That's fine. Dad and Mom, you pay attention to your safety. Take a taxi back. Yang Ming said. Okay. It's so late. We can't go back if we don't take a taxi. Yang Dehai said with a smile, now your mother and I have passed the stage of dating. Do you think we can still walk on the road? Hee hee. Yang Ming laughed twice and made a goodbye gesture to his parents. Then, he walked in the direction of the dormitory. Back in the dormitory, Yang Ming found that Zhang Bin was studying the ring that he brought back. Yang Ming remembered that Zhang Bin borrowed it yesterday. Seeing that Yang Ming came back, Zhang Bin looked up and asked, didn't you go home? Why are you back? My parents wanted to visit my godfather. I just finished, so I went back to school directly. Yang Ming explained. Oh, so that's it. Zhang Bin nodded. Right, Yang Ming, you said that you bought this ring from the celebrity, Shuya. Chapter 317. Yeah, what's wrong? Is there a problem? Yang Ming asked. There is a problem. Of course, there is a problem. There is a big problem. Zhang Bin said in disbelief, Yang Ming, are you fooling me? You want to lie to me with a fake. How could this be Shuya's? It's obviously yours. What do you mean mine? Yang Ming was somewhat inexplicable. What is Zhang Bin talking about? I bought it with money. Of course, it's mine. Damn, I'm not talking about this. Look at it yourself. There is a mark you left on it. Zhang Bin raised the ring in his hand and said to Yang Ming. What mark? Yang Ming took the ring and looked at it strangely. He didn't find anything unusual. You have to look at it against the light. You keep the ring and the direction of the light on this plane, and then look at it from the side. Zhang Bin explained. Oh. Yang Ming picked up the ring and looked at it according to Zhang Bin's words. Sure enough, there were a few shallow carvings on the ring. Yang Ming's heart was suddenly shocked, because he had seen the shape of the marks. Yang Ming's eyes widened, and a look of disbelief appeared on his face. He couldn't be more familiar with the carvings on it, because this was something that he had carved himself. Yang Ming was really unbelievable, but the facts were in front of him. This ring was 100% the name that he gave to Suya. Because the carvings on it weren't anything else, it was the word Ming in his name. Yang Ming could even clearly remember that after he bought this ring, he used the carving knife provided by the roadside stall to carve the words on it. What is going on? It seems that this isn't a coincidence. There aren't so many coincidences in the world. Yang Ming thought that it was an identical ring, but now it seemed that this was the same ring. As for why Yang Ming did not notice it before, the reason was very simple. Yang Ming did not carefully examine the ring. The carvings on the ring were not very obvious. After the owner of the ring stroked it often, the surface of the ring had been polished and the handwriting had become much lighter. If one did not look carefully, they would not be able to see it. Zhang Bin was a fan of Shuya. Naturally, he was more interested in her things. That was why he found this imperceptible place. What happened to you? Don't tell me you have nothing to say after I exposed you. Zhang Bin looked at Yang Ming's blank expression and asked curiously. Nothing. Yang Ming shook his head with a wry smile. The doubts in his heart had become indescribable and could not be described with words. Yes, the situation was simply too strange. Why was this person's name so similar to Suya's? Why would this ring appear in her hands? All of this was a mystery. Of course, unless Shuya was Suya. But this possibility was almost non-existent. Shuya and Suya were simply two different people. Although they were equally beautiful, these two people were simply two different people. There was no similarity in appearance at all. Although there was a saying that a woman would change 18 times between childhood and womanhood, Yang Ming did not think that a person would not change her original appearance at all. This was absolutely impossible. Even if many of the photos of Shuya on the internet were the kind of realistic artistic photos, there were still some photos taken by reporters. Yang Ming did not find any trace of Suya's past on her face. So Yang Ming was very puzzled. Yang Ming even regretted that he did not seriously look at this ring at the beginning. If this abnormality was discovered at the time, Yang Ming would definitely try to contact the auctioneer Shuya through the auction house. Yang Ming wanted to verify something with her. Even if this Shuya was not Suya, then she must have some connection with Suya. But now, I have come back. If I want to contact that Shuya again, it is undoubtedly very difficult. Yang Ming sighed slightly. It seems that some things are destined. It can't be forced. I am only one step away. Maybe I can know the news of Suya now. However, because of my carelessness at the time, I missed it. Bro, you didn't buy a counterfeit, right? Zhang Bin saw Yang Ming's depressed look and couldn't help but persuade, okay, just treat it as spending money to buy a lesson. I say, Shuya can't sell this ring. She treasures this ring so much. She has never been willing to show this ring to others. How could she sell it? What did you say? You said that she is very concerned about this ring. Yang Ming's eyes flickered as he asked. It can't be. Didn't I tell you once before? Besides, this kind of thing, Shuya's fans know about it. It's not a secret. Zhang Bin said, so, the ring you bought must be fake. Yang Ming shook his head subconsciously. No. I must have missed some important details. This ring is definitely real. But this Shuya, who is she? Yang Ming had previously suspected that Shuya was Suya, but from a scientific point of view, this hypothesis was not valid. Yang Ming was a little confused. He really couldn't understand the connection between this. Bro, why are you shaking your head? Zhang Bin looked at Yang Ming sympathetically. Okay, you bought the real thing. Bro, you have to say something. Say what? What does it matter if it's real or fake? I'm thinking about other things. Yang Ming cleared his mind and said quickly. Yeah, I say, bro, you can't be sad because of this. Zhang Bin smiled and said, yes, what does it matter if it's real or fake? Even if it's real, since Shuya has sold it, it proves that this ring is no longer important to her. Yeah. Yang Ming seemed to have figured it out all of a sudden. Yes, whether this person is Suya or Shuya, it doesn't matter. If this person is really Suya, since she can sell the ring, it proves that she has completely forgotten the past. If this person is Suya, then this ring must be given to her by Suya. Suya can give the thing that I gave her to someone else. It also shows that I am no longer important in her heart. So, in any case, the past has become the past. Since Suya doesn't care, why should I be so persistent? What's the use of thinking about this? When love had become a thing of the past, those tokens of love would also become worthless. If this is the case, then Suya's ring is sold at a good price. $400,000. And, you're right. Yang Ming smiled bitterly and said, let's not talk about this. How is it? Have you thought of any good ideas for starting a business? Ugh. I just want to study this ring. How about I think about it tonight and talk about it tomorrow? Zhang Bin smiled. Damn, you have nothing to do. Yang Ming looked at Zhang Bin contemptuously and took the ring back to his room. Yang Ming was a nostalgic person. No matter what Suya was like, Yang Ming still missed the feelings of being with Suya. This ring was the proof of their hazy first love. Yang Ming still valued it very much. Yang Ming carefully put the ring into the box and then locked it in a drawer with a lock. Yang Ming decided to keep it as a memory and treasure it forever. After doing all this, Yang Ming withdrew his thoughts and opened the notebook. He was ready to continue learning the content that Fang Tian left for him. At this time, his cell phone rang. Yang Ming glanced at the caller ID. It was Ho Jinhan calling. Yang Ming first walked over and locked the door. Then, he picked up the phone and went to the window. He lowered his voice and picked up the phone. Hello, Big Ho. What's the matter? Yang Ming didn't want Zhang Bin to know about his relationship with the underworld. After all, Yang Ming was still very bright in front of Zhang Bin. Yang Ming felt that these dark things should be done by himself. If he told Zhang Bin, it would bring trouble to him. Brother Yang, I have reached an agreement with Bao Sonli. Ho Jinhan said very ably. What are the conditions? What's the matter? Asked Yang Ming. Things are like this. Ho Jinhan began to explain in detail. It turned out that during this time, Bao Sonli was defeated by Yu Xiangde and the Four Snakes gang. He couldn't hold on anymore. If this continued, the people on Bao Sonli's side would be destroyed sooner or later. Therefore, Bao Sonli couldn't sit still. He took the initiative to find Ho Jinhan and asked him for help. He also promised to split the profits 50-50. Ho Jinhan had already received Yang Ming's instructions. Naturally, he directly refused Bao Sonli's conditions. Chapter 318. This was inevitable. The previous 50-50 split was based on Bao Sonli's strength. Now, if Bao Sonli didn't have strong support, then there was only one path, so Ho Jinhan would never agree to Bao Sonli's condition. Under the situation, Bao Sonli had to compromise. Tonight was the second negotiation. This time, Bao Sanli decided to surrender because Ho Jinhan promised him that as long as he worked for the boss behind the scenes, the boss would help him take down Song Jiang's underworld. After the matter was done, the underworld would be jointly managed by Ho Jinhan and Bao Sanli. Although it seemed that Bao Sanli had to listen to someone in the future, his actual power had not been reduced. He still occupied half of Song Jiang's underworld, or even more. Because Song Jiang's underworld was unified, there was only one more Ho Jinhan to jointly manage it with him. In fact, his power was greater. There were losses when you gained. Bao Sanli also knew that once today's negotiation was successful, he could no longer have the final say in the future. Everything had to be discussed with Ho Jinhan. Moreover, the money in the gang wasn't his own. According to common sense, Ho Jinhan must be in charge of the accounts. However, Bao Sanli also believed that his and his brother's share would definitely not be reduced. Now it seemed that Ho Jinhan wasn't the kind of person who liked to interfere in everything. Therefore, as long as he was loyal to the behind-the-scenes boss, Ho Jinhan wouldn't restrict him too much. In this way, there were only benefits and no disadvantages. After figuring this out, Bao Sanli no longer had any concerns, so there was this negotiation tonight. In the Nightless Club, Bao Sanli had obviously arranged the conference room carefully. The fruit plates and desserts on the table were all available. Obviously, it could be seen that he attached great importance to this negotiation. Previously, Bao Sanli's self-confidence was inflated. He thought that he could take down Yu Xiangde with his own strength. He didn't expect that he was wrong. If it was only Yu Xiangde, then there was absolutely no problem. Although Bao Sanli wasn't good at scheming, Yu Xiangde was a complete fool. Bao Sanli could definitely defeat him. Now, the four snakes gang from Donghai came over. They stood on Yu Xiangde's side. As a result, Bao Sanli's disadvantage was obvious. Although the four snakes gang could only be regarded as a second-rate gang in Donghai, it was a provincial capital. The gangs there were worlds apart from Songjiang. In their opinion, these gangs in Songjiang were just some insignificant punks. They couldn't be compared with the big gangs with strict organizational discipline. It was like the difference between a fake army and a regular army. Therefore, as soon as the four snakes gang intervened, the battlefield that was originally like scattered sand immediately became a one-sided situation. The previous situation was that Bao Sanli and Yu Xiangde had made an appointment with a time and a place. Then, the two of them brought a group of people to fight. Because Bao Sanli's men fought fiercely, they won more than they lost. They quickly established an advantage, but the arrival of the four snakes gang completely disrupted the battle. Brother Snake began to systematically direct Yu Xiangde's people to seize the territory instead of fighting with Bao Sanli's people. It was just a sneak attack tactic that caught Bao Sanli off guard. He had just solved the problem here, and the other side's nest was raided again. It wasn't that Bao Sanli didn't want to learn from Yu Xiangde's approach, but it couldn't be done. He didn't have enough manpower. Yu Xiangde had a large number of four snakes gang members guarding over there. If he went there, he would undoubtedly be courting death. Bao Sanli was very depressed. He had no good solution. His side was about to be forced into a dead end. In a moment of desperation, he had to think of Ho Jinhan. However, Bao Sanli was indeed very skeptical. The current situation was already in a situation where it was difficult to recover. Could the boss behind Ho Jinhan really clean up this mess and turn defeat into victory? In any case, Bao Sanli had no choice now. Surrendering to the boss behind Ho Jinhan was the only way to turn the tables. Ho Jinhan came and brought Yang Ming's message. The message was very clear, but this also made Bao Sanli feel very relieved. Brother Bao, our boss has no intention of interfering in the matters of Song Jiang's underworld. He has many other important things to do every day. It is impossible for him to care about everything. Ho Jinhan said, however, what the boss wants is absolute control and the absolute loyalty of his men. That's all I have to say. If you agree, then let's discuss the details. If you don't agree, I have nothing to lose. Bao Sanli was silent. Ho Jinhan's words undoubtedly showed that Bao Sanli would work for the behind-the-scenes boss in the future. However, before this, Bao Sanli had already prepared for this. Moreover, Ho Jinhan's words now undoubtedly made Bao Sanli feel reassured. The boss only wanted control and would not interfere with the development of the underworld. I agree. Bao Sanli made a decision. A wise man submits to circumstances. It would be a fool to insist. If he nodded, then he was at least the Songjiang's underworld boss in name. If he shook his head, he might even lose his life. He didn't believe that Yu Xiangde would let him go. Well, I will explain your decisiveness to the boss. Ho Jinhan nodded and said, in this case, then I will talk about the plan here. Although the boss can easily deal with the Four Snakes gang and Yu Xiangde, the boss doesn't intend to do so. What? Bao Sanli was stunned. What does the boss mean? The boss said that he doesn't need a waste. He wants a capable person. Although Ho Jinhan was the second boss in name, everyone knew that the one who managed the money was the boss. At that time, Ho Jinhan would be the one to give the brothers a bonus, so his position in the gang was higher than Bao Sanli's. Chapter 319. I understand. Bao Sanli nodded. Today was the most important decision and turning point in his life. Bao Sanli didn't know if his choice was right or wrong. At least it wasn't clear now. He hadn't even seen the behind-the-scenes boss. Bao Sanli was from the bottom of society. He didn't expect a place so big one day. Since Song Jiang's underworld gang boss Husan was sentenced, Song Jiang's underworld hadn't been successful. It was scattered. In fact, even now, Bao Sanli and Yu Xiangde weren't considered underworld gangs. They were just a group of punks. However, there were no other forces in Songjiang City, so they were exposed. Now, Bao Sanli decided to work for Ho Jinhan's boss. Then, what awaited him was either a meteoric rise or a tragic death. But in this way, there was at least a 50% chance. Brother Ho, our boss, what is his name? Bao Sanli also used the name of our boss at this time. And, you can call the boss Mr. Y. Ho Jinhan shook his head and said, the boss is a mysterious person. Before he trusts you enough, I won't take you to see the boss. So, if you want the boss to trust you and give you a bigger responsibility, then you have to show your ability and sincerity. I understand. Bao Sanli nodded. He knew that it was useless to say anything now. It was better to show his true ability. However, Bao Sanli was also looking at his own boss. Bao Sanli now only surrendered on the surface, but he still had some hesitation in his heart. Because he didn't know the true strength of the boss, only after the boss showed his true strength, Bao Sanli would be willing to surrender. However, although the boss wants to control the underworld, the boss doesn't like to fight and kill. Ho Jinhan said, don't do those things that bully others and do evil in the future. Brother Ho, you can rest assured about this. I, Bao Sanli, can pat my chest and guarantee that I have never bullied innocent people since I have been out for so long. My means are for those evil people. Bao Sanli said firmly, when I'm in charge, unless someone takes the initiative to make trouble, I won't make a move. Well, it's good that you can do this. Ho Jinhan nodded. The above was the whole process of the meeting between Ho Jinhan and Bao Sanli. Ho Jinhan related to Yang Ming. I didn't expect you to be so powerful, Big Ho. Yang Ming couldn't help but praise. Brother Yang, the Four Snakes Gang. Ho Jinhan asked with some doubts. He didn't know what means Yang Ming had to make the Four Snakes Gang surrender. You don't have to worry about this. You let Bao Sanli gather his men and wait for my news. Leave the Four Snakes Gang to me. Yang Ming instructed. Okay, Brother Yang, I got it. Ho Jinhan nodded and said. The Four Snakes Gang might be a problem for Bao Sanli, but for Yang Ming, it was an easier thing to deal with compared to Yu Xiangde. Why did he say that? Because no matter how fierce the Four Snakes Gang was, they were just a dragon crossing the river. Their foundation wasn't in Songjiang. The boss of the Four Snakes Gang, Brother Snake, just wanted to support Yu Xiangde as his puppet. However, Brother Snake was also very clear that when a dog was anxious, it would jump over the wall. He was now afraid of causing Bao Sanli's retaliation. If Bao Sanli desperately wanted to find underlings to kill him, then Brother Snake was really a little scared. After all, Brother Snake was also a big shot. He was like a piece of porcelain. He didn't want to fight head-on with Bao Sanli, this kind of stone, and lose his life because of it. Therefore, Brother Snake's current life was very careful. There were bodyguards around him 24 hours a day. There were also underlings patrolling under his residence, and there was a strict alarm device. Yang Ming was now thinking about using his own means to let Brother Snake know the difficulties and retreat. He didn't want to be involved in the muddy water of Songjiang's underworld anymore. Why let him know the difficulties and retreat instead of killing him? Yang Ming also had his concerns. The reason why the Four Snakes Gang was called the Four Snakes Gang was that the gang was founded by four brothers. Although Brother Snake was the boss, he still had three younger brothers under him. Although one died in the fight and one was seriously injured, his second brother was still fine. He was healthy and guarding the headquarters of the Four Snakes Gang. Yang Ming had already investigated before. The relationship between the four brothers was very good. Therefore, if Yang Ming killed Brother Snake, what awaited him would be the endless revenge of the Four Snakes Gang. Therefore, Yang Ming decided to spare Brother Snake this time. Anyway, the underworld of Donghai City had nothing to do with him. As long as Brother Snake went back, he could do whatever he wanted. After ending the call with Ho Jinhan, Yang Ming sighed. To be honest, Yang Ming didn't know whether what he was doing now was right or wrong. He worshipped Fang Tian as his teacher and became the king of assassins. He also wanted to unify the underworld of Songjiang. This idea was simply too bold. If it was the previous Yang Ming, he would definitely feel that this was unrealistic, but now he had really embarked on this road. What is it for? For me to be strong enough to protect the woman around me. But now, except for Shao Qing, there was no one else around me, for my parents to be able to live a better life. Yes, before this, Yang Ming did think so. However, after talking with his parents at night, Yang Ming understood that his parents didn't like the life of a rich man. However, after they knew that their son was very capable, they no longer worried about the pressure of life. They regarded their work every day as a kind of happiness, instead of working for money. It seems that my parents are very easily satisfied, but why am I always not satisfied with everything in front of me? Yang Ming shook his head. Maybe people have different desires. Tonight was destined to be a restless night. It was too late. Yang Ming put on the coat that he had just taken off and was about to go out, but he hesitated. He turned and opened the closet. At the bottom of the closet, he took out a small box. These were some small tools that Fang Tian gave him. Yang Ming opened the box and took out a set of black tight-fitting clothes. This was custom-made by Fang Tian according to Yang Ming's figure. It was divided into two sets of winter and summer clothes. Now, the winter clothes that Yang Ming took out were slightly thicker, but the cold resistance wasn't as strong as the down jacket. Yang Ming took off his coat and put on the tight-fitting clothes inside. Then, he put on the coat outside. After that, Yang Ming took a black reconnaissance hat and a pair of infrared night vision goggles from the toolbox and put them in the pocket of the coat before leaving the room. The infrared night vision goggles were actually useless to Yang Ming. His eyes were much better than this. However, this pair of glasses could play a role in disguising himself. You still want to go out? Zhang Bin saw Yang Ming come out of the room fully dressed and asked curiously. I'm going out for a while. I'm going home to get something. Yang Ming found a reason casually. I really admire you. It's the middle of the night. You can drive my car. Zhang Bin said. Even if you didn't say it, I was going to do it. Yang Ming laughed twice and turned to leave the dormitory. At the end, he suddenly turned around and asked, why didn't I see Tian Donghua? Where did this kid go? Who knows? I guess he went to pick up a girl. Zhang Bin said casually. Just as he walked to the dormitory, Yang Ming thought that Zhang Bin's mouth was really accurate. Sure enough, Yang Ming saw Tian Donghua pulling and tugging at a girl. Yang Ming was stunned. That girl was actually Wang Shui. Zhou Jiejia's good friend, Wang Shui. Damn, when did Tian Donghua get together with her? If it was someone else, Yang Ming wouldn't care, but one was his roommate and bad friend, and the other was Zhou Jiejia, who he didn't like, her good friend, Wang Shui. If these two people got together, wouldn't it be troublesome in the future? In desperation, Yang Ming had to stop and watch the situation. Tian Donghua, let me think about what you said. Wang Shui lowered her head and whispered. What is there to think about? We are both adults. It's normal to fall in love. Tian Donghua said shamelessly. That won't do. This is the first time I have a boyfriend. I have to think carefully. Wang Shui shook her head rationally, although she also felt that Tian Donghua's situation was good. In the evening, she had a meal with Tian Donghua. Tian Donghua was very generous and had the courtesy of a rich family's son, which made Wang Shui somewhat moved. First time. Tian Donghua was overjoyed. Virgin, it's not easy to find one these years. My previous girlfriend wasn't a virgin. If I bring her home this time, my old man should be happy, right? Originally, Tian Donghua just felt that Wang Shui was a bit like his previous girlfriend. He planned to have a playful attitude with her, but he heard that this was her first love. First love. Tian Donghua immediately became serious. Yes, you have to think about it. Then I will send you back to the dormitory. Okay. Wang Shui nodded. Chapter 320. Looking at the back of the two people leaving, Yang Ming smiled bitterly. Could it be that old Tian is serious? It's just Wang Shui. If we go out to play in the future, Wang Shui will take Zhou Jiejia, and old Tian will take me. That won't be fun. Yang Ming shook his head. He was going to ask Tian Donghua in detail at night. Isn't this guy interested in Zhou Jiejia? How did he change to Wang Shui? Isn't this change too big? Now Yang Ming had something to do. He didn't have time to care about Tian Donghua. The temporary headquarters of the Four Snakes gang in Songjiang was located in a car repair factory in the north of the city. This was Yu Xiangda's property, and now it was requisitioned by Brother Snake. Why did he use a repair factory? Because the repair factory had a large independent yard, it looked relatively empty. It was convenient for his men to patrol. Yang Ming drove to the vicinity of the repair factory according to the information provided by Ho Jinhan in advance. Then, he got out of the car and deflated a part of the rear tire of the car. Then, he got in the car and drove to the door of the repair factory. He wanted to test the situation in the repair factory first. What are you doing? A patrolling underling saw Yang Ming's car parked at the door of the repair factory, so he asked. Buddy, my car's rear tire is flat. Fill it up, said Yang Ming. Fill it up. No, it's time to get off work. You should find another place. The underling directly refused. It was a special time now. The repair factory had been closed for several days. Buddy, can you make an exception? It doesn't take long to fill it up, right? Yang Ming said with a smile. No, I told you that it's time to get off work. The underling waved his hand and said, hurry up and go. Sorry, buddy. I don't think my car can leave. You see that the rear tire is like this. Yang Ming got out of the car and pointed to the car tire behind him. That won't work. You should just drive it away. The underling said impatiently. If it weren't for the fear of causing unnecessary trouble, this underling would have already scolded him. Buddy, I have to run a long distance at night. It's so late. I don't have a place to fill it up. As Yang Ming said this, he took out the 200 yuan that he prepared in advance from his pocket and gave it to the underling. Buddy, do me a favor. Oh. The underling took the money was 200 yuan. The underling's heart immediately became lively. Just by pumping gas, he could earn 200 yuan. This was really good work. All right, bring the car in. The underling opened the roadblock and let Yang Ming pass. Thank you, bro. Yang Ming said as he got into the car. He started the car and drove to the repair factory. Just stop here. The underling pointed to a parking area and said, you wait for me, I will get you the air pump. Calm. These people were the underworld's little gangsters. They didn't have any schemes at all, so it was settled without making a move. You came back so soon. Seeing Yang Ming enter the house, Zhang Bin asked curiously, you went home? I just came to get something. I didn't do anything else. Yang Ming smiled. Right, your car wheel was short of air. I gave you some. Okay. Right, Yang Ming, come and take a look at old Tian's new girlfriend. Give some advice. Zhang Bin pointed to the phone screen in his hand. Chapter 321. New girlfriend. I think he is probably imagining it himself, right? Yang Ming curled his lips and said contemptuously. He naturally knew who Zhang Bin was talking about. He glanced at the photo on the phone screen in Zhang Bin's hand. It was indeed Wang Shui. Damn, what fantasy. If she wasn't my girlfriend, would she let me take a photo? Tian Donghua grabbed the phone and said with dissatisfaction. What else is there to consider? We are both adults. It is normal to fall in love. Yang Ming imitated Tian Donghua's tone and said sourly. Damn. How did you know? Tian Donghua listened to Yang Ming's words and his face immediately turned green. I just saw it when I went downstairs. Yang Ming said faintly. Can't you leave me some face? It's over. I don't have the face to see anyone. Tian Donghua said with a sad face. Really evil. Yang Ming felt a chill. He turned and went back to his room to take off his clothes. He had to take off the night suit he was wearing inside to avoid Zhang Bin's suspicion. After everything was packed, Yang Ming left the room. Old Tian, how did you get together with Wang Shui? Didn't you like Zhou Jie? Yang Ming asked curiously. What's the use of liking her? That chick didn't care about me at all. I had no choice. I was thinking of ways to save the country. Tian Donghua said, so I found her good friend, Wang Shui. After a while I became familiar with her. Then you two fell in love after a long time. Yang Ming continued. Almost. Wang Shui told me that Zhou Jijia already had a sweetheart, and it was the kind that would never change until death. I had no choice but to give up. Tian Donghua said, however, I found that Wang Shui's voice was very similar to my former girlfriend. I unconsciously fell in love with her. If that's the case, then I won't say anything more. Yang Ming shook his head. I can't interfere with others looking for a partner, right? They weren't his parents. His words wouldn't be effective. What else do you want to say? I am sincere. Tian Donghua swore. All right, then I wish you the best of luck in getting married. Yang Ming walked into the bathroom and prepared to brush his teeth and wash his face. Early the next morning, Yang Ming called Ho Jinhan. Yang Ming was going to act tonight, so Bao Sanli must be ready to be on standby. There can't be spies on Bao Sanli's side, right? Yang Ming asked with some concern. This is hard to say, but don't worry. I will gather them together and collect all their communication tools. Just in case, we can also activate the signal blocker. Ho Jinhan was obviously very good at this. Okay, I'll leave it to you. Wait for my call, Yang Ming instructed. No problem, Brother Yang. You can rest assured. Ho Jinhan assured. After hanging up the phone, Yang Ming went to class as usual. Today, Tian Donghua was particularly active. When Yang Ming was brushing his teeth in the morning, he urged several times and asked Yang Ming when he would go to the classroom. When they went to the cafeteria to eat, this guy finished it in a few bites. He complained that Yang Ming ate slowly, which made Yang Ming speechless. If you go so early, Wang Shui won't go so early. This is also true. Tian Donghua nodded and finally stopped, but the anxious look on his face was really a bit chilling. When they arrived at the classroom, Wang Shui hadn't come yet. The class started at 8:30 in the university. It was only 7:00 now. No matter how diligent the students were, they wouldn't come at this time. They waited until 8:00. Tian Donghua was almost at the wife-gazing cliff, then Wang Shui and Zhou Jijia came to the classroom. Yang Ming had been thinking about the plan that night during this time. Wang Shui, here. Tian Donghua reached out and greeted. Wang Shui looked at the enthusiastic Tian Donghua and couldn't help but blush. Zhou Jijia seemed to already know about this matter. Wang Shui probably told her yesterday, so Zhou Jijia didn't seem to be surprised. However, if Wang Shui and Yang Ming were together, then wouldn't she be able to sit with Yang Ming every time in class? Maybe love would develop over time. Yang Ming and Suya were together because of this, right? Zhou Jijia was very happy to think about her future. On the other hand, Yang Ming had to smile bitterly. He wanted to hide from Zhou Jijia. It seemed that he couldn't hide this time. However, when they sat down, Wang Shui was in a dilemma. In the classroom, there were 4 seats in a row. The 4 of them could sit together, but the key was the problem of who was next to whom. If she was next to Tian Donghua, then Yang Ming and Zhou Jijia would definitely sit on the 2 sides. In this way, they couldn't be next to each other. But if Zhou Jijia and Yang Ming were to sit together, then Tian Donghua definitely wouldn't agree. This was a really troublesome question. Zhou Jijia seemed to see Wang Shui's hesitation, but this was really difficult to do unless she and Wang Shui sat separately. Tian Donghua, you stand up. Wang Shui suddenly said. Ah. Why? Tian Donghua was stunned. You sit on the side. Zhou Jijia and I will sit in the middle. Wang Shui said. Since Zhou Jijia and I don't want to sit separately, why not let Yang Ming and Zhou Jie be separated? Then, wouldn't I be separated from Yang Ming? Tian Donghua asked, baffled. You don't want the words between us to be heard by others, right? Wang Shui whispered a hint. Yes. When Tian Donghua heard Wang Shui's reason, he immediately agreed. He turned around and forgot about Yang Ming. He stood up and let Zhou Jie and Wang Shui sit in the middle of the seat. He sat on the edge. Yang Ming was helpless. Old Tian, you don't look like a person who is easily swayed, right? You gave in just like that. Yang Ming was helpless. He thought, just do it. The messier it is, the better. It's just that Zhou Jie, this chick, why did she suddenly entangle with me? In fact, if there was no cause and effect, if Zhou Jie suddenly became so close to Yang Ming, then Yang Ming would definitely notice the problem. This chick was most likely interested in him. But both of them thought about the previous conflict between them. Moreover, they hadn't seen each other for a few years. At this time, Zhou Jie said that she liked him. Yang Ming wouldn't believe it even if he was beaten to death. But even if he believed it, so what? Even if Yang Ming didn't hate Zhou Jie now, it didn't mean that he could like this girl who had hurt him and Suya. Well, since it's impossible to have any relationship, then let her be. Isn't it just sitting next to me? If she wants to sit, then sit. It doesn't matter. Originally, this four-man team was strange enough, but of all people, something even stranger happened. Wang Jitao actually sneaked into Yang Ming's class. When he saw Yang Ming, he immediately walked over. Yang Ming, can I sit here with you? You know the reason. Wang Jitao lowered his head and whispered. Yang Ming wanted to agree, but before he could speak, Zhou Jie spoke first. No, I have something to say to Yang Ming. You sit in front of us. Okay, no problem. Then I will sit in front of you. Since the beauty spoke, Wang Jitao naturally obeyed. But he was a bit puzzled. What is the relationship between Yang Ming and Zhou Jie? Didn't he say that he wasn't familiar with Zhou Jie? How could they sit together if they weren't familiar? Wang Jitao began to think about other things. It can't be so coincidental, right? Could it be that Yang Ming also wants to pursue Zhou Jie? Once this idea came up, it couldn't be stopped. Yes, it is very possible. Wang Jitao had to be careful. In the battle for Chenmengyan, he lost to Yang Ming. This time, if he lost to Yang Ming again, then he would completely go berserk. What do you want to say to me? Yang Ming saw that he didn't succeed in changing seats, so he frowned and asked in a bad mood. Ah. Zhou Jie was stunned. Just now, she just casually found an excuse to not let Wang Jitao sit next to her. But she looked for Yang Ming. There was no special reason. She just liked to be next to Yang Ming. But since Yang Ming asked, Zhou Jie could only find a reason casually, so she said, this is the case. I have a few questions that I don't know. I want to ask you, huh? Yang Ming was stunned. He was somewhat inexplicable. It can't be, right? I usually see so many people ask you questions. There are still times when you don't know. Besides, if you don't know, you can ask the teacher. If you ask me, won't I know even less? Wang Jitao, who was sitting in front, listened to Zhou Jie's words and frowned slightly. Consulting each other for learning problems wasn't a good sign. In the past, Yang Ming and Chenmengyan developed in this way. Wang Jitao certainly didn't know that this was just Zhou Jie's excuse. He thought that Zhou Jie really had a question to ask Yang Ming. So he said in a hurry, Zhou Jie, if you have any questions, you can ask me. Although I'm not a computer science major, my computer science is not bad. Chapter 322. Zhou Jiejie hated this man named Wang Jitao in front of her. What did it have to do with you when I was talking to Yang Ming? It just so happened that she had to take a Cisco certification test in these 2 days. Zhou Jiejie took the Cisco teaching materials on the table and flipped through a page. She found an experiment question that she had forgotten and pointed to it to Wang Jitao. That is this. You take a look and help me answer it. When Zhou Jiejie spoke, she tried to make her tone sound humble and innocent as if she was a good student waiting for the teacher's earnest guidance. Let me see. Wang Jitao waved his hand confidently and took the tutorial. When he was about to speak, his face immediately turned green. What the hell is this? Why is it all in English? Wang Jitao looked at the hub and router on the top. He could understand these 2 words if they were taken out separately, but he didn't know what they meant when they were put together. But he had just bragged. If he said that he didn't know now, wouldn't it be too embarrassing? It couldn't be helped. Wang Jitao had to bite the bullet and began to make up nonsense. This, that. Under the default situation, this hub switch, all ports, are connected to different routers, that, this VLAN, that, Wang Jitao just translated according to the English words he knew, but he didn't know what it meant when it was put together. After translating for a long time, even he himself was confused. In the end, he had to say awkwardly, this question involves too many hardware problems. I have to study it carefully. How about this? I will copy it and analyze it carefully, and then I will explain it to you. Okay. Zhou Jiejie nodded quickly. Wang Jitao breathed a sigh of relief and quickly took the book back to his table. Then, he took out a notebook and copied it. He thought that Zhou Jiejie would despise him. He didn't expect her to agree with his proposal. How would he know that Zhou Jiejie was deliberately perfunctory? However, this question was really long. Including the experimental pictures, it was as much as 3 pages. There were at least tens of thousands of English words. However, in order to show off in front of the beauty, Wang Jitao had to use the trick of copying texts in primary school and quickly copied it. When Zhou Jiejie saw Wang Jitao writing quickly, she couldn't help but laugh softly. Yang Ming also saw that Zhou Jiejie was teasing Wang Jitao. He couldn't help but smile and said, I didn't expect that. You are really bad. Who asked him to be so annoying? Zhou Jiejie. Although, he didn't, at least he took the initiative to talk to her. I have a few questions. Can I ask you now? Zhou Jiejie began to continue the previous topic with Yang Ming. Ugh. Student Zhou Jiejie, the things you asked are too profound. Yang Ming really didn't have a good time in junior high school, and he didn't go to class all day. If you want to talk about friends, it could only be Suya, but, since Yang Ming didn't say that he was dead, it proved that he might still go. Yang Ming was actually just brushing her off. Yang Ming now wanted to quickly recharge. There was a big action at night. Success or failure depended on this. As for the junior high school reunion, it was a small matter. If there was nothing special, Yang Ming really intended to go and take a look. Yang Ming remembered a boy named Sun Haoming who sat in front of him. He was good to him. When I fell, this kid always advised me not to be discouraged and to be responsible for my future. Yang Ming now thought about it. He felt that he was grateful to him. Although Yang Ming treated his words as wind, he really cared about Yang Ming. I don't know what he is doing now. After going to high school, Yang Ming lost contact with him. I remember that Yang Ming later on in school, the person who talked the most was him. At that time, Sun Haoming was a good student. His grades were in the top 10 of the class. Although he was similar to Yang Ming before he fell, after Yang Ming fell, no one was willing to talk to Yang Ming. Only Sun Haoming would patiently comfort me. Thinking of these past events, Yang Ming was a little sad. He couldn't help but ask, when is the reunion? Ah. Zhou Jiejie was delighted. She quickly said, December 26th, the Friday night after Christmas. I got it. You can remind me when the time comes. Yang Ming nodded and said, right, do you know if Sun Haoming will be there? Sun Haoming. Zhou Jiejie shook her head and said, I don't know. Do you want me to go back and ask for you? Then I'll have to trouble you. Yang Ming said politely. When people gradually grew up and matured, their childhood friends had gradually disappeared from their lives. It's okay. Zhou Jiejie was very happy. In this way, she had a reason to continue to sit next to Yang Ming. Although she could continue to sit here because of the relationship between Wang Shui and Tian Donghua, it was a bit shameless. Now it was different. She could answer Yang Ming legitimately. After that, Yang Ming continued to lie on the table and think about the plan for the evening. Zhou Jiejie wasn't in a hurry. Haste makes waste. Tall buildings start from the ground. More haste, less speed. Every day, a little progress. After a month, the relationship between the two people would definitely have a qualitative breakthrough. The most important thing was that she had to have enough reasons to chat with Yang Ming every time. This required Zhou Jiejie to put in a lot of effort. The little talented girl also had painful times. For the first time, Zhou Jiejie felt that there was something more difficult than learning hacking in this world, and that was love. Chapter 323. Wang Jitao struggled to copy the original English version of the online experiment question, and the class was over. Yang Ming slept peacefully during the class, and Zhou Jiejie was also free from Wang Jitao's harassment. Wang Jitao returned the book to Zhou Jiejie and hurried back to the dormitory to ask for help online. Yang Ming looked at Wang Jitao's appearance, and he was amused. Picking up girls, it doesn't seem to be the way you do it, right? In the evening, Yang Ming checked the things he had to bring: ropes, iron hooks, daggers, and a motorcycle. For the stolen motorcycle, Yang Ming didn't feel guilty at all. Songjiang had banned motorcycles for many years, but there were still some people secretly riding unlicensed motorcycles on the road. Not only did it cause inconvenience to traffic, but it was also often hit and run. The modified scooter boat that Yang Ming stole was a band among bands. At 11:00 in the evening, it was a noisy and quiet time. Some places were brightly lit, and some places had turned off the lights. The repair factory where the Four Snakes gang was located had turned off the lights. Yang Ming rode the motorcycle to the technical school behind the repair factory. Yang Ming was still very familiar with motorcycles. When he was a punk in junior high school, he played with this thing a lot. Yang Ming carefully observed the technical school. The front door was locked, but the bathroom windows on each floor were open. This may be the habit of some schools or units. No matter what, the air in the bathroom was kept unblocked. Although the bathroom windows on the first floor were also open, there was a protective fence outside. Although Yang Ming could also violently destroy it, there was no need to give up the near for the far. It was not difficult to climb up from here. The iron hook and hemp rope that he prepared were just in case. Now that there was a protective window on the first floor, he could go up by stepping on the protective window. Yang Ming smiled bitterly. He couldn't help but think of the scene when he climbed into Chen Mingyan's dormitory a while ago. He didn't know if Chen Mingyan had forgiven him now. Yang Ming decided that after the matter at hand was settled, he would immediately find Zhao Ying to ask about the situation. He couldn't delay any longer. If one day he didn't pay attention, Chen Mingyan would become someone else's wife. He wouldn't regret it. Because this was a technical school, not a formal public school, there was not even a person on duty. Yang Ming climbed to the bathroom on the second floor very easily. As soon as he poked his head in, a stench came in, mixed with urine. Yang Ming quickly held his breath and almost spat out the food he had for dinner. No wonder the window was open. It was so smelly in this toilet. Looking at the urine and feces all over the floor, Yang Ming felt a chill. He jumped out of the bathroom in a slightly cleaner place. He took a few steps away and breathed a sigh of relief. It was too smelly. Yang Ming quickly walked up the stairs to the third floor of the school. Then, he found an unlocked classroom and pushed the door to go in. Under the classroom's window was the roof platform of the repair factory. It was less than a meter from here. Yang Ming jumped to the platform below easily. As for which room Brother Snake would be in, Yang Ming wasn't worried. He could easily find the location of Brother Snake. As long as it was determined that Brother Snake lived in the repair factory, it would be much easier. Yesterday, when Yang Ming came to investigate, although he could also use his special ability to see through the staff dormitory and the repair factory, it was very time-consuming. Shun Zi would definitely be suspicious. Therefore, Yang Ming just judged the approximate location of Brother Snake based on Shun Zi's words and left here. Today, Yang Ming wore a night suit on the roof of the repair factory workshop. It wasn't very obvious and wouldn't attract anyone's attention. Therefore, Yang Ming could rest assured to explore the specific location of Brother Snake. It didn't take long for Yang Ming to find the room where Brother Snake was. This guy really knows how to enjoy himself. This woman seems to have a good figure. At this moment, Brother Snake was lying on the bed, hugging a plump chick. He was doing some important things. In these 2 days, Bao Sanli seemed to be afraid of being beaten. These 2 days, he was blindly avoiding. Brother Snake was very happy about this. Song Jiang's territory was about to be taken into his own pocket. When Bao Sanli's name was removed from Song Jiang's territory, what he had to consider was how to pry all the benefits from Yu Xiangda's mouth. But thinking about it, this wouldn't be too difficult because Yu Xiangda was now obedient to his words. Thinking of this, Brother Snake was very excited. His dream of being a boss was finally going to be realized. In Donghai, he knew that he could never have a successful day. With the suppression of the Red Society, the Four Snakes gang could only be a second-rate gang. Not only did they have to follow the Red Society's instructions, but they also had to pay a large sum of money to the Red Society every year. Otherwise, the Four Snakes gang wouldn't have survived until now. Song Jiang's underworld had not yet developed. Brother Snake decisively saw this opportunity. It just so happened that Yu Xiangda was also asking for help everywhere, so the two hit it off. Originally, in the beginning, Brother Snake still had the mentality of taking a share of the pie to participate in this matter, but people's desires were infinite. When he found that Yu Xiangda was a complete idiot, Brother Snake had the idea of completely taking the Songjiang underworld into his pocket. Once this idea was raised, it would be uncontrollable. At this moment, Brother Snake was having a dream. The chick on him was also swaying her body. A bunch of huge breasts swayed in front of Brother Snake, but Brother Snake wasn't in the mood to look. His mind was now planning to unify the underworld. A loud sound, the glass shattered, and the debris fell to the ground, splashing everywhere. The little girl on Brother Snake was so scared that she screamed and ran to the door. This made Brother Snake suffer. The lower leg was still in the chick's body. When the chick leaned to the side, she directly broke Brother Snake's third leg. Brother Snake almost jumped out of bed because of the pain. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Yang Ming was very happy in his heart. He grabbed a teapot on the windowsill and smashed it on the head of the chick who wanted to escape. Yang Ming's current accuracy was very confident. He directly knocked the chick unconscious. She groaned and fell to the ground. As for Brother Snake, Yang Ming was not afraid that he would run away. According to his previous understanding, this Brother Snake's leg kung fu was just average. It was not a challenge for him. Who are you? Brother Snake was the boss after all. He calmed down in an instant. He didn't care about the pain in his lower body. He stared at Yang Ming's face and asked. Look as you please. Yang Ming thought, I am wearing the big toed night vision goggles. I am not afraid that you can recognize me in the future. Yang Ming didn't believe that he had the same X-ray ability as himself. It doesn't matter who I am. What matters is that I represent the power of one party. Yang Ming said faintly, take out your hand under the pillow. Don't try to use the gun hidden below to deal with me. Even if you kill me, the organization will kill your whole family, including your relatives. Yang Ming had already seen a pistol under Brother Snake's pillow, and Brother Snake was trying to take out the pistol at this moment. But often, people were irrational in dangerous situations. Brother Snake didn't think much about it. After hearing Yang Ming expose him, he quickly pulled out his hand from under the pillow. Of course, it also included the pistol. Brother Snake thought that Yang Ming was here to kill him, so he had to fight. No matter what organization is behind him, if I don't kill him, he will kill me. At most, I will run away after finishing it. As the underworld boss, Brother Snake had long been prepared to run away. How could Yang Ming not see Brother Snake's little move? When his hand grabbed the gun under the pillow, Yang Ming knew what he was going to do. How could this kind of petty trick be hidden from Yang Ming's eyes? Yang Ming snorted and smiled mockingly. He threw the dagger in his hand, and it hit Brother Snake's hand that was holding the gun. Paw! The gun fell and rolled from the bed to the ground. Brother Snake snorted, but he was still a man. He didn't cry out loud. As for the previous howl, it might be because his manhood was broken. I told you not to be delusional, but you didn't listen. Yang Ming said in a very contemptuous tone, do you think that you are very badass in front of the average person because you are in the underworld? However, I can tell you that you are nothing in front of me. Who the hell are you? Brother Snake gritted his teeth and endured the great pain in his hand. Why are you looking for me? I am an assassin. Yang Ming said faintly. Someone hired you to kill me. Brother Snake looked a little flustered. Being in the underworld, he had heard of the assassin profession. Those people were different from the underworld. They were real desperados. Of course, it was to kill the other party. Chapter 324. No. Yang Ming shook his head. I didn't want to kill you at all. Otherwise, you would already be dead. You wouldn't have said such nonsense to me. Brother Snake was stunned. He thought that the person in front of him was telling the truth. If the dagger had pierced his heart instead of his hand, then he would have been dead by now. However, since the person in front of him said that he wouldn't kill him, Brother Snake was slightly relieved. As long as he didn't want to kill him on the spot, then everything was fine. I just don't know what conditions this person has. Since he isn't here to kill me, is he here for money? Hero, what do you want me to do? Just say it. Thinking that he couldn't die, Brother Snake was also refreshed. It seems that you are still quite eye-catching. I was planning to train you. Yang Ming smiled coldly. No need, no need. Hero, just say it. What do you want me to do? Brother Snake was shocked and said quickly. In a word, leave Songjiang. Don't get involved in the muddy water here. Yang Ming said word by word. Leave Songjiang. Brother Snake was stunned and immediately said, "Is it Bao Sanli or Yu Xiangda who sent you?" "Humph." Yang Ming sneered and said, "These two people don't have the ability to order me around." "Then, hero, you are." Brother Snake's heart was cold. If it was this person, it would be easy to handle. Brother Snake was most afraid of the involvement of other organizations. "My boss is very upset when he sees you messing around in Songjiang." Yang Ming said coldly, "Do you know why Songjiang's underworld hasn't been successful for so many years?" Yang Ming began to fabricate, "The boss doesn't want to see this situation." Brother Snake didn't know that Yang Ming was lying to him. Thinking about it, Songjiang's underworld was really not successful. They didn't even have guns. There were very few ecstasy pills in entertainment venues. Now that he thought about it, could it be that someone deliberately suppressed it behind the scenes? "I have said all that I should say." Yang Ming didn't wait for Brother Snake to answer. He continued, "In short, the boss is very upset with you. He wants you to get out of here quickly. If it weren't for the fact that the boss didn't ask me to kill you, I wouldn't even bother to talk to you." Yang Ming's impatient expression moved Brother Snake. This didn't seem to be an act at all. The newcomer's calmness and disdain towards him were completely the attitude of a strong person looking at a weak person. As for the boss in front of him, could it be the boss behind the scenes of their assassin organization? Thinking of this, Brother Snake was scared, and then a few scary thoughts appeared in his mind. Could it be that Songjiang is the headquarters of this assassin organization? In order to keep a low profile, he deliberately suppressed the development of other forces in the city? That's right, it's very possible. Thinking of this, Brother Snake was suddenly discouraged. The previous grand ideal instantly turned into nothingness. He wasn't afraid of going against the gangs. Brother Snake wasn't stupid enough to go head-to-head with the assassin organization. How could such an organization be shaken by an ordinary person? He reckoned that before he could develop, they would all be killed off for no reason. "I don't want to talk nonsense with you. I'm leaving. If I can still see you appear in Songjiang City tomorrow, I will tell your brother to come and collect your corpse." Yang Ming shook his head and said very casually, "There is no need. Don't use this kind of modified black gun. It is easy to misfire. Or, I will give you an AK-47 another day." Brother Snake was speechless. "Motherfucker, it's good that a small gang member like me can play with a black gun. Yu Songjiang's underworld doesn't even have guns. Do you think that we are professional assassins like you?" Brother Snake watched Yang Ming's figure disappear from the window, and he suddenly slumped on the bed powerlessly. Brother Snake sighed secretly. "I finally know why no one is involved in Songjiang's underworld. I thought that I got a big bargain. I didn't expect that the water is muddy. Isn't this place too dangerous?" Although Brother Snake was more distressed about the benefits that were about to come into his hands, compared with his life, the benefits were nothing. "If I die, it's useless to have more territory. Don't think about anything else. Let's evacuate tomorrow." No, tomorrow. When is tomorrow considered? It's already 11 o'clock now. Will it be tomorrow after 12 o'clock? That good man, you have to make it clear before you leave, right? Aren't you playing with me? Am I going to die here if I don't leave before 12 o'clock? To be honest, if it weren't for Yang Ming's knife-throwing skills, Brother Snake wouldn't have believed it so easily. However, Brother Snake was also a veteran. Yang Ming's actions and expressions undoubtedly showed that he was a ruthless person. Therefore, Brother Snake wasn't ready to take risks. From the fact that Yang Ming could sneak in here silently and find the room where he was, this guy was definitely not simple. As a matter of fact, the room that Brother Snake stayed in every night was random. Except for a few confidants, the underlings outside didn't know. Moreover, these confidants didn't have their cell phones on them. They couldn't communicate with the outside world. Therefore, Brother Snake had reason to believe that the person just now was really a professionally trained assassin. There was nothing in the world, but people worried about nothing. Brother Snake connected the dots based on Yang Ming's words. He felt that things were suspicious. Why didn't the underworld achieve anything in Songjiang for so many years? There was no shortage of ruthless people in any city, so there was only one explanation. That was, someone deliberately suppressed it. In fact, he didn't know that the impact of Husan's case was too great. In recent years, no one dared to show up. Since Brother Snake had begun to be timid, then other things weren't important. Brother Snake quickly put on his clothes, and then found his confidants to prepare to evacuate from this dangerous place. Yes, no one would take their own life as a joke. Therefore, in the middle of the night, cars drove out of the repair factory and went straight to the direction of Donghai City. After Yang Ming left on the motorcycle, he scolded Brother Snake in his heart. Today's matter was really not challenging at all. I thought that after I left, Brother Snake would order his men to stop me, but I didn't expect that there was no movement outside. Until I got on the motorcycle, the repair factory was still quiet. Yang Ming smiled bitterly and shook his head. I prepared the rope in vain. Yang Ming's plan was to quickly return to the platform after threatening Brother Snake, then enter the technical school building. From the bathroom on the 3rd floor of the technical school, he would jump down from the previously arranged rope. Below was his motorcycle, so he could quickly escape from here. He didn't expect his perfect plan to be useless at all. However, seeing that Brother Snake was so stubborn, Yang Ming also knew that his means had worked. It seemed that Brother Snake would definitely not continue to stay in Songjiang. Yang Ming thought that Brother Snake would leave as soon as possible, but he didn't expect Brother Snake to withdraw so quickly. Yang Ming didn't ride far when he saw the lights in the repair factory lit up. Then, a team of vehicles came out and drove to the Donghai Expressway. Yang Ming originally wanted to arrange the next step later, but now it seemed that it was not necessary. Yang Ming took out his mobile phone and called Ho Jinhan. He said simply, "The Four Snakes gang has been settled. We can act according to the plan." "Okay, boss." After Ho Jinhan finished speaking, Yang Ming hung up the phone. "How is it?" Seeing that Ho Jinhan finished the call, Bao Sanli quickly asked. "The boss has settled the Four Snakes gang. We can make a move now," said Ho Jinhan. "It's already settled. So fast." Bao Sanli was stunned and said with some disbelief, "It's only been a day. Are you doubting the boss's ability?" Ho Jinhan's face suddenly sank. "No. I don't dare. I didn't mean that." Bao Sanli saw Ho Jinhan's face and was immediately shocked. "Yeah," Ho Jinhan said before that the boss needed his men to be absolutely convinced. Moreover, if the boss had the ability to settle the Four Snakes gang in a day, then, if he dealt with a disobedient man. Bao Sanli shuddered. "Humph." Ho Jinhan snorted slightly. "That's good. We can arrange the action. Remember, now you are the boss's man. Don't have any doubts about the boss." "I understand." Bao Sanli wiped his sweat and nodded. Just as the two were talking, Delay ran in and said with joy, "Brother Bao, Brother Ho, according to the news from the underlings, the Four Snakes gang is withdrawing from their stronghold and returning to Donghai." Although Bao Sanli had heard about it from Ho Jinhan before, he couldn't help but be happy when he heard the positive news from Delay. However, his heart was even more horrified. The boss that I am following is indeed a capable person. It was also from this moment on that Bao Sanli didn't dare to have any doubts about the boss. Chapter 325. Bao Sanli was overjoyed, but Ho Jinhan stood aside with a blank expression. After Bao Sanli was happy, he couldn't help but be embarrassed when he saw Ho Jinhan's expression. However, he said very sincerely, "Brother Ho, I promise that I will never question what the boss said. From now on, I will be loyal to the boss. I will tell the boss what you said, but to gain the boss's trust, it's useless to just rely on words. You have to show some strength," said Ho Jinhan. "Brother Ho, you can rest assured. Just leave it to me," Bao Sanli said confidently. "As long as the Four Snakes gang is gone, Yu Xiangde is nothing." Ho Jinhan nodded. He didn't want to participate in the gang fight for the time being. He just wanted to see Bao Sanli's performance. Bao Sanli ordered a counterattack on the spot. His men had been saving up for 2 days, and they were full of spirit. However, Yu Xiangde's men were immersed in the joy of victory. With the support of the Four Snakes gang, who were they afraid of? Bao Sanli. There was no need to fight. This guy had now become a coward. He didn't dare to come out. However, Yu Xiangde's men never thought that Bao Sanli would actually counterattack at this time. Although Brother Snake was Yu Xiangde's support, Yu Xiangde wouldn't stare at Brother Snake's men like Bao Sanli's men. Now the two gangs were in a cooperative relationship, unlike Bao Sanli who was hostile. Therefore, Yu Xiangde didn't know that Brother Snake had left. Until Bao Sanli led his men to the entrance of Yu Xiangde's base camp, Yu Xiangde realized the seriousness of the matter, but he didn't take it seriously. He still scolded in his heart. Did this guy Bao Sanli eat an aphrodisiac? Otherwise, he would have eaten a leopard's guts. He dared to behave atrociously in my base camp. Isn't he afraid that I will be annihilated? Thinking about it, Yu Xiangde quickly dialed Brother Snake's phone number. He didn't expect to hear, "Sorry, the number you dialed is turned off or not in the service area. Please dial again later, damn it." Yu Xiangde stomped his foot fiercely. At such a critical moment, he actually turned off his phone. Is he playing with women, or is the phone really out of battery? Yu Xiangde didn't have time to think about it. He sent a confidant and asked him to quickly rush to the repair factory to ask for help. On his own side, Yu Xiangde hurriedly dispatched his men to rush to the headquarters. Because of the continuous victories, Yu Xiangde's men and women, Yu Xiangde's men, and Bao Sanli's men had never counterattacked, so his men's and never. Bao Sanli's men's men never counterattacked, and his never counterattacks men's never. Yu Xiangde was also dreaming of being the boss of Songjiang. He didn't really manage his subordinates, but he didn't expect that something would happen today. It was really difficult to find someone again. Finding his underlings from all directions was a very difficult thing to do. Teet Lu. Yu Xiangde was so anxious that he felt dizzy. However, he never expected these underlings to save him. He still had backup. However, following that, bad news came. Teet S's. B. The repair factory. There was not. Yu Xiangde almost went crazy when he heard that. Did Brother Snake leave me alone? This time, Yu Xiangde really panicked. Like a headless fly, he desperately urged his men to call his underlings to come back for rescue. But how could people be so easy to find? These underlings were either having sex and didn't turn on their cell phones, or they were drunk and picked up the phone to talk nonsense. Counting on these people to come back for rescue. Don't be whimsical. But now, Yu Xiangde really had no other way. Bao Sanli's men were blocking his door. Yu Xiangde had no ability to reverse the situation. "Brother De, let's run first." "We don't need the headquarters," said the second in command next to Yu Xiangde. "AI. That's the only way." Although Yu Xiangde was a little stupid, he wasn't stupid. It was obvious that he was waiting for death here. He didn't want to do it. There was only one way to run now. So, under the arrangement of the second in command, Fei Biao, Yu Xiangde left from the back door of the mountain bar. The boss had left, and the underlings had no reason to stay. Those underlings of Yu Xiangde suddenly dispersed. Bao Sanli successfully took down Yu Xiangde's important stronghold in the north of the city, which was also his base camp. It could be said to be a victory. However, at this moment, Bao Sanli was very sober. He didn't have the joy of defeating Yu Xiangde several times before because he was very clear that all of this was based on the premise that the boss had taken care of the Four Snakes gang. What he had done was only a very small part of it. Therefore, Yu Xiangde didn't ask Hou Jinhan for credit, but asked Hou Jinhan very humbly about the boss's next plan. This night was not quiet. Yu Xiangde finally contacted Brother Snake, who had returned to Donghai, through various means, but Brother Snake sent him away with a few words. Brother Snake said that he didn't want to get involved. It was useless to say anything. If you don't accept it, then come to Donghai to find him. Yu Xiangde was now like a stray dog. How would he dare to go to Donghai to find trouble with the Four Snakes gang? Wasn't that looking for death? Damn, this liar. I shouldn't have believed him in the first place. Yu Xiangde cursed fiercely. Yeah. Motherfucker. Fei Biao also cursed along with Yu Xiangde. However, he was very clear in his heart. If there was no Brother Snake, it was still a question whether Yu Xiangde could survive until now. However, Fei Biao was a loyal person. He was also loyal to Yu Xiangde, so he would only think about it in his heart and wouldn't say it out loud. Fei Biao, what do you think we should do now? Is there still a chance to make a comeback? In fact, Yu Xiangde was also very clear. As long as Brother Snake didn't help him, then his strength was definitely not as good as Bao Sanli. Brother De, I have a distant cousin who fights in an underground boxing ring in the south. Why don't I ask him to come back and help us? Fei Biao suddenly thought of his relative, so he said. Really? Then why don't you ask him to come back and help? Any conditions can be discussed. Yu Xiangde said quickly. Okay, Brother De, I will contact my cousin in a while. Fei Biao nodded. Yu Xiangde saved his life in the past. Otherwise, Fei Biao wouldn't be so loyal to Yu Xiangde. After all, Yu Xiangde was a reckless man. He was brave but not resourceful. After all, he couldn't achieve anything great. Yu Xiangde and Fei Biao found a temporary stronghold to rest for the night. The next day, Yu Xiangde went to gather the rest of the people, and Fei Biao went to contact his distant cousin. Yang Ming was very satisfied with the result of last night's battle. It seemed that Bao Sanli still had some ability. After listening to Hou Jinhan's report, Yang Ming said, Bao Sanli has made a lot of movements before. I am afraid that it will attract the attention of the police. During this time, you ask him to stop. Try to solve Yu Xiangde's matter in a low-key manner at night. If you can avoid a large-scale fight, try not to happen. Understood, said Hou Jinhan. After Wang Jitao returned to the dormitory, he began to ask on QQ and Baidu. He also registered a large number of sock puppets on many computer technology forums. He posted the questions he copied and waited online for answers. It was really hard for Wang Jitao. It took 3 hours just to type those few English words. Then, Wang Jitao took a photo of the picture above with a digital camera and uploaded it to the space. He posted the link behind the question. Finally, in the middle of the night, a kind person gave Wang Jitao an answer. However, Wang Jitao didn't know why. In order to prevent Zhou Jiejia from asking him questions tomorrow, Wang Jitao had to ask the kind person some relevant knowledge. In the end, the kind person was annoyed. He directly said that he would talk about it next time and went offline. Wang Jitao was helpless. He had to start to memorize. He memorized a lot of messy concepts in order to deal with Zhou Jiejia's questions. However, how could this internet knowledge be learned in one night? The next day, Wang Jitao entered the classroom with two panda eyes. He was so sleepy that he couldn't even walk properly. But to be able to show off in front of a beautiful woman, Wang Jitao was worth it. According to the kind-hearted person on the internet last night, this question was considered to be extremely difficult. Many experts were unable to solve it. Therefore, Wang Jitao was very excited when he thought that he could solve this question now. However, unfortunately, his hope was shattered by Zhou Jiejia's simple words. Wang Jitao was so ashamed that he couldn't even show his face. Chapter 326. Jiejie, I stayed up late last night. I spent a lot of effort and finally solved this question. Wang Jitao said as he held the piece of paper full of answers. Really? You solved it yourself? Zhou Jiejie asked with a smile. Yeah, this question is really not easy. I guess not many people can do it. Wang Jitao said shamelessly. Oh, I thought you asked someone else. Zhou Jiejie pursed her lips and smiled. Ah. Wang Jitao was stunned, then he said awkwardly, how can it be? I solved it myself. Really? I thought the person who asked me this question last night was you. Zhou Jiejie shook her head and said faintly. What? Aren't you called Charming Baby? Wang Jitao was stunned. The I am a little hacker is also you. That is my sock puppet. Zhou Jiejie nodded. Wang Jitao's face suddenly turned red. After a long time, the person who asked for help last night was Zhou Jiejie. Wang Jitao was shameless, but now he couldn't wait to find a hole to hide in. Didn't you not know how to solve this question? Wang Jitao asked with a lot of shame. Yeah, I didn't know how to do it, but I searched for some information online at night and figured it out. Later, I saw someone asking, so I went to answer it. Zhou Jiejie said. Ugh. If this is the case, then I don't need to do it. Wang Jitao turned his head away. After being embarrassed, Wang Jitao didn't have the face to ask to change seats with Yang Ming. Zhou Jiejie was sitting next to Yang Ming contentedly. Yang Ming, I checked the alumni list yesterday. Sun Haoming isn't online. He rarely logs into the alumni list. I don't know if he is there, but I left a message for you. If someone replies, I will tell you immediately. Zhou Jiejie said. Okay, thank you. Yang Ming didn't have much hope. I haven't been on any alumni list. Yang Ming wasn't very interested in those things. He believed that many people were like him and didn't get on the alumni list. And, leave it to me. Zhou Jiejie nodded happily. She had another opportunity to continue to talk to Yang Ming. As long as Sun Haoming didn't reply, she could use this reason to talk to Yang Ming. It was just that Yang Ming's attitude towards her was somewhat lukewarm. Except for the few words that she took the initiative to say to him, Yang Ming had been silent. In fact, Yang Ming didn't feel anything, but he instinctively rejected Zhou Jiejie. This girl was very dangerous. Yang Ming had a psychological shadow because of her complaint. Now, although he knew that Zhou Jiejie's character had changed a lot, Yang Ming just couldn't get close to her. In the afternoon, Yu Xiangde found someone to send a challenge to Bao Sanli. It was the final duel. Each side sent a person to fight. Whoever won, Song Jiang's territory would belong to that person in the future. This was also the result of Yu Xiangde's helplessness. He pinned his hopes on Fei Biao's cousin. If he went head-to-head with Bao Sanli now, the the final result would definitely be a lose-lose situation. However, the one who would suffer the most damage would definitely be his own side. Therefore, Yu Xiangde thought of a somewhat rogue but seemingly fair method. That was to decide the winner in one round. Of course, this was just Yu Xiangde's hope. As for whether Bao Sanli would agree to this request, it was another matter. Bao Sanli had the right to refuse him. This was just Yu Xiangde's own wishful thinking. If Bao Sanli didn't care about him, then he had no way at all. Yu Xiangde was very clear about his current situation. Once the Four Snakes gang withdrew, he wasn't Bao Sanli's opponent at all. Now, there were only two ways to go. One was that if Bao Sanli agreed to his request, then everything would be fine. As long as Fei Biao's cousin could win, then everything would be fine. The other way was to fight to the death. Yu Xiangde wanted to run away, but he was really reluctant to give up the foundation of Songjiang. He was somewhat unwilling to leave just like that. Brother Ho, what do you think? Bao Sanli handed Yu Xiangde's challenge to Ho Zhenhan. Now, Bao Sanli would discuss with Ho Zhenhan whether it was a big or small matter. After all, Ho Zhenhan was already the second in command here. Ho Zhenhan picked up the challenge and glanced at it. Then, he hesitated and said, "If you fight with Yu Xiangde, how long will it take to completely destroy them?" "At least a month, or even longer." Bao Sanli said, "It is impossible to have a large-scale fight like in the movie in the city now. There can only be a small-scale attack, and the results won't be too fast. Just like when the Four Snakes gang fought us, it took a long time. If this is the case, then agree to his request and fight with him," Ho Zhenhan said. "The boss asked us to act in a low-key manner. There is a simple way, so there is no need to fight. But, I received news that the person Yu Xiangde invited to fight is a black boxer from an underground boxing arena in the south." Bao Sanli said with some worry, "Here, no one has a chance of winning, unless it is Yang Ming. Brother Ho, do you know this person?" Ho Zhenhan thought, "He is your boss. How can I not know him?" However, his mouth remained calm and collected as he said, "Oh. I know him. Is he very powerful?" "Forget it. He won't get involved in this kind of thing." Bao Sanli shook his head. "Who should we send to fight?" "Me," Ho Zhenhan said without hesitation. "You?" Bao Sanli was stunned. He had never seen Ho Zhenhan's strength. At this moment, he was a little surprised when he heard that Ho Zhenhan was going to take the initiative to fight. However, Bao Sanli was still very happy. Ho Zhenhan took the initiative to agree. Even if he lost, the boss would not blame him. Moreover, since Ho Zhenhan could agree, it showed that he had the strength. Otherwise, he would not simply agree. Feng Xibiao was Fei Biao's cousin. The king of fighters of the underground boxing arena in a small city in the south. The holder of the undefeated record of 162 matches. Fei Biao and Feng Xibiao could only be regarded as distant relatives. Moreover, they were not close relatives. Why did Feng Xibiao come all the way to help this cousin this time? The reason was simple. When Feng Xibiao was young, his family was very poor. His hometown was also in the north. After his parents passed away, he did not know how he found out Fei Biao's address and came to seek shelter from this relative. However, Fei Biao's parents were very heartless. They simply ignored him as a distant relative. In fact, it could not be said that they were heartless. Who knew if you were a relative? What if you were a liar? Feng Xibiao was desperate. He was almost on the streets. Fei Biao, who was still in school, took out 2,000 yuan of his New Year's money and gave it to this down-and-out cousin. His cousin took the money and went to the south. Therefore, Feng Xibiao had never broken contact with Fei Biao. Although the 2,000 yuan was not much, it was undoubtedly life-saving money for Feng Xibiao in the past. Otherwise, he might have died. Therefore, when Fei Biao looked for him for something, Feng Xibiao would come to help even if he had to die. In fact, it was so simple. Yu Xiangde just followed along. At the Songjiang railway station, Fei Biao anxiously waited for his distant cousin. Beside him stood Yu Xiangde, who was wearing sunglasses. Yu Xiangde was also very nervous. After all, he had now bet everything on Feng Xibiao. Little fatty. A voice came over. Fei Biao suddenly looked up and saw a burly man standing not far from him. From the looks of it, there was no doubt that it was his cousin. However, when his cousin left at that time, he was as thin as firewood. Cousin? Fei Biao asked tentatively. What's wrong, little fatty? Don't you recognize me? Feng Xibiao laughed and said, do you think that I have become stronger? Yeah, cousin, I almost can't recognize you. Fei Biao grinned. Little Fatty was his nickname. This is my boss, Yu Xiangde, brother De. Fei Biao introduced to his cousin. Hello, brother De. Feng Xibiao nodded and said hello. Hello, brother Biao. Thank you for helping me in your busy schedule. Yu Xiangde said quickly. I'm not helping you. I'm helping little Fatty. Feng Xibiao did not give Yu Xiangde any face. However, Yu Xiangde did not dare to say anything. He had nothing to do with him. Why would he help him? He was right. He came for Fei Biao's face. Yu Xiangde humbly helped Feng Xibiao carry his luggage. Such a legendary person helped him. It seemed that he would win this time. A big stone in his heart finally fell. Although Yu Xiangde was very happy after getting a positive answer from Bao Sanli, he was still a little worried before he saw Feng Xibiao's people coming. Chapter 327. This is the news from the informant around Yu Xiangde. Bao Sanli took a document and handed it to Ho Jinhan. This person seems to be very tricky. Ho Jinhan took the document from Bao Sanli's hand indifferently and began to read it slowly. Know yourself and know your enemy, and you are invincible. Although Ho Jinhan was dismissive of things like underground boxing, it was undeniable that these people did have extraordinary strength. Feng Xibiao, the pillar of the Hell boxing field in the southern V City, had played 162 different games since his debut. He had won all of them and had no record of failure so far. Feng Xibiao was 183 centimeters tall and weighed 78 kilograms. He was good at straight punches. His strength was amazing. His opponents who had fought with him often fell to the ground after being hit by his straight punch. Some even died on the spot. Feng Xibiao didn't like to play fancy tricks. He often solved the battle with a few punches. Even if he encountered a difficult opponent, he still maintained his own routine and went straight until the opponent was on the ground. There was only so much information, and it wasn't very detailed. However, from the last line, Ho Jinhan also saw something else. That was, Feng Xibiao's ability to resist attacks was also very strong. Otherwise, under the enemy's attack, it was impossible for him to still use his own attack style. Another point was that Feng Xibiao didn't seem to be good at using his feet. Then, his breakthrough point was his feet. This was the key to winning. Normally, no matter who it was, his legs were often longer than his arms. Ho Jinhan's height was almost the same as Feng Xibiao's, so his legs would definitely be longer than Feng Xibiao's arms. Therefore, Ho Jinhan decided to start with this breakthrough and find a way to find Feng Xibiao's flaw. However, with just this information, it didn't seem to be very useful. This information could be determined based on their feelings on the field. It would be best to have some other information, such as the video of Feng Xibiao's boxing, but Ho Junhan also knew that this was impossible. The underground boxing field in China was different from foreign countries. Underground boxing fields were rare in China, so the transmission of information was blocked. Especially when the game was not allowed to be recorded, so it was simply unrealistic to have this information. Throwing the information on the table, Ho Junhan moved his neck indifferently. How is it, Brother Ho? Are you sure you can kill him? Bao Sanli asked nervously. After all, this battle was related to his future. I'm not sure. Ho Junhan shook his head and said faintly, this information is basically useless. I can't judge the level of the opponent just based on what is written on it. These were all very general words. For example, he was good at straight punches and had a lot of strength. How much strength was this? What was the specific numerical value of his fist? These aren't written clearly. Then, should I get someone to investigate further? Bao Sanli also knew some knowledge in this area. He knew that Ho Junhan was telling the truth. Such information alone was useless. There's no need. These things are probably kept secret. No one would know about them. If you want to investigate, you can only go to the underground boxing ring in V City in the south. Only there can you get first-hand information, but it's obviously too late. Ho Junhan shook his head and said, but it doesn't seem to be a big problem. I can handle him. Brother Ho, thank you for your trouble. Bao Sanli said quickly, I really have to trouble you this time. It's all for the boss. You don't have to trouble me. Ho Junhan waved his hand and said, remember in the future that there is no such thing as trouble between us. Everything is for the boss. I understand. Bao Sanli said quickly. Before the match, Ho Junhan called Yang Ming. Brother Yang, do you think that my decision is reckless? Although Yang Ming also agreed with this method of determining the winner or loser, Ho Junhan's decision to fight was not approved by Yang Ming. No, Big Ho, don't forget what you used to do. If you can't even handle this underground boxer, then I can only despise you. Yang Ming said faintly. Hee, I will work hard. Ho Junhan smiled. However, I have dealt with the underground boxers in foreign underground boxing rings. They are really strong. What's the result? Yang Ming asked directly. I won. Ho Junhan replied. Then, isn't that enough? What else is there to worry about? Asked Yang Ming. No, Brother Yang, if I really can't come, please take care of my mother for me. Ho Junhan hesitated and said. Big Ho, don't say such discouraging words. I don't like to hear it. Yang Ming said, you be careful. If you really can't do it, just admit defeat. If you lose the territory, you can fight for it again. If you lose your life, who will help me fight for the territory? Okay, I got it. Ho Junhan said solemnly. Yang Ming had confidence in Ho Junhan. What a joke. How can a retired Special Forces soldier not be able to handle an underground boxing ring? Then it is really a waste. In a car repair factory in Songjiang City, which was the temporary stronghold of Brother Snake, a duel of life and death was about to begin. In this game, the winner was destined to become the overlord of Songjiang City's underworld, and the loser had to keep his promise to evacuate Songjiang and never come back here. Sun Santai was once a person who commanded the wind and clouds in Songjiang's underworld. He was older than Husan. He was already 62 years old this year, but he retired early. After that, he had been doing business in Donghai City. It was said that he had a close relationship with the largest gang in Donghai City, the Red Society. Therefore, Sun Santai's reputation in the underworld was very high. This time, he was jointly invited by Yu Xiangde and Bao Sanli to be the notary of this game. With him here, even if Bao Sanli and Yu Xiangde had hatred, they could only meet peacefully. Of course, this was the result that the two wanted the most at present, and Sun Santai played the role of a balance point. With Sun Santai present, neither Yu Xiangde nor Bao Sanli dared to do things according to the rules. Who is this person? Although he had quit the underworld, he had a close relationship with the Red Society in Donghai, unless Yu Xiangde and Bao Sanli didn't want to live anymore. It was almost time. The host whispered a sentence to the notary, Sun Santai. When he saw Sun Santai nodding, he picked up the microphone and coughed. He announced loudly, "The Songjiang City's underworld hegemony battle begins now. Mr. Feng Xibiao represents Yu Xiangde in the north of the city. Mr. Feng Xibiao, please come on." In the applause of Yu Xiangde's underlings, Feng Xibiao walked to the middle of the venue and began to move his body. Mr. Hou Jinhan represents Bao Sanli in the south of the city. Mr. Hou Jinhan, please come on. The host continued to announce. Hou Jinhan, as a participant, also walked quickly into the venue. He didn't have the ruffian aura of Feng Xibiao. Hou Jinhan seemed to be much more reasonable. However, although Hou Jinhan and Feng Xibiao were about the same height, there were some obvious differences in their physiques. Feng Xibiao was very big, and Hou Jinhan was somewhat thin and capable. However, in this way, people who didn't understand would think that Hou Jinhan's strength was weaker. Yu Xiangde's underlings began to cheer. However, Bao Sanli's underlings didn't have any special thoughts because they were already familiar with the new second master during this time. They all knew that this second master was very capable and very reliable. As for whether he could win or not, they weren't sure. But since the second master dared to come out to fight, he must have the confidence. Next, I will announce the rules of the game. This rule is jointly formulated after consultation with both parties. The rule of this game is that no weapons such as knives and sticks are allowed in the game. Both parties must fight barehanded. The only weapons that can be used are the gloves on your hands and the rubber shoes on your feet. Other than that, there are no other rules. The game will only end when one party can't get up from the ground or takes the initiative to admit defeat. Okay, do you understand? The host said. Hou Jinhan and Feng Xibiao nodded at the same time. Do you two contestants have anything to say? The host finally asked. Do you know what others call me? Feng Xibiao said faintly, people who know me call me King of Fighters. It's because I have never lost. As a veteran underground boxer, Feng Xibiao knew how to cause psychological pressure to the other party. Hehe, you are an underground boxer. Then have you heard of a person named John Clark? Hou Jinhan didn't take Feng Xibiao's words seriously because Hou Jinhan had already seen what he said in the information before.